so excited that we have a special guest on the show this week, episode 112 of Current Gen Podcast. Kyle, Dan, and Tim here, and we're joined by the one and only Nick Cage. Nick, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, my face is on right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, could you do face?
Oh, can you do face up? Oh,
face off.
Oh.
So one of these, Jeff?
Build for that guy.
Yes, it's one of those, and when you
Oh my gosh!
No. That's amazing.
Dan, how have you not shown this to us before?
It never came up conveniently.
on air.
Have him make it out.
We were just applauding your Parks and Rec knowledge just a second ago, and he busts out a rock.
I also have another one. This one's more my wife's, but it's just funny in general. So hold on, ready? Well, you can kind of make out what it says.
It's cool. I was wondering what it was.
Yeah,
okay,
I
cool.
resonate with that one.
They actually had one of these in the movie, the Nick Cage movie,
Yeah,
but it was just a headshot.
Pillow?
It was basically just a headshot, but it was only cheeks and eyes, and it was zoomed in.
And it's
Nick
from
Cage
Con
goes,
Air.
"Oh, that's really creepy," and he wipes it so he doesn't have to see it.
Oh my word.
So what was going on? What was going on about me and Parks and Rec?
Dan, help me remember this.
We were just applauding your knowledge.
There's an episode of Parks and Rec where, and I forget the comedian who plays the role, but he comes in as a guy who quickly builds parks, and it's like Kablam or Kaboom.
Yeah, Kaboom.
Oh, Paul Scheer.
The
That's Paul
Kaboom
Scheer.
guy. Yeah, the
Kaboom.
Guy. Yeah, Kaboom.
Kaboom it. He uses it as a verb.
Kaboom it.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Kaboom.
And then
Kaboom.
Leslie, because she wants to do her park, she talks to Mark Brandanowitz, and he's like, "Don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness."
Mm-hmm.
And then she does it, and then Andy gets the sand on him, and then
right.
Ron's yelling at her. He's like, "Leslie, what the fuck?" But it bleeps it out because obviously.
Hey!
That was Paul Scheer who played the Kaboom guy.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good episode. That's a good one.
That's a great episode. I love that. I love that episode.
Shenanigans.
All right. Anyway, well, we are actually hoping that Derek can join us in a bit, and I've got a quiz that we're going to do once he's here because that'll be enough people for us to actually have an interesting game. So we'll get to that. But there's so many headlines. I kind of want to start there, and then we'll talk about stuff we're watching, a whole bunch of movies and shows that we're watching. And by the way, I'm kidding in the notes there where I put might need to pick two because, oh my God.
There's a lot of stuff.
I'm kidding. So in the notes, there's a whole bunch of stuff that everyone's watching.
I see.
And so I put might need to pick two because OMG.
It's clear where the priorities are right now.
But no, we can. There's lots to talk about that we're watching, which is great. Lots of good stuff on, and good clapping. That's good.
Good clap.
But we're gonna start with headlines because there's so many. There's been a lot of stuff happening, and I thought it'd be worthwhile to cover at least a few of these. We'll start with some of the lighter weight stuff here. Oh, by the way, before we get too far into this week's show, please go check out our YouTube channel. It's cool to see more activity on there. We need to get Jeff to make some more of our 10-second reviews.
Yeah, I have 4 of them written, and I just haven't done
So-
them.
Well, what are you doing? Get on this. What are we paying you for, Jeff? What are we paying you for, Jeff?
It's true. Just 10-second movie reviews. If you haven't seen it, go check that one out. Derek and I just did a spoiler cast for Elden Ring. You guys have done a spoiler cast for Matrix a couple months back. So we want to do more and more content like that. It's fun to kind of nerd out on very specific topics like that. But we need all of you who are listening to go subscribe and watch on YouTube. So make sure you go do that. And don't comment weirdly rude things like, hey, you put this crap on my timeline, so I'll just put this crap on yours.
You like my real casual, okay, thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. Kill them with kindness. That's what
Very,
Hey, interactions are interactions. Thanks,
Yeah. This engagement actually helps us. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you.
All right. Anyway, so let's jump into some headlines for this week. I remember when PSVR was putting out some games. For the most part, there weren't very many that caught my attention. I knew I had to play. Things like Beat Saber I really wanted to play, and there were a few.
Yeah.
Astrobot was fantastic. But there was this little game called Moss, which I still think is a pretty cool little platformer action adventure game. If you haven't played it, it's totally worth playing if you own PSVR. Is it on PC too? I'm not sure if it might be on PC as well.
What,
I'm not.
Saber?
Moss.
Oh, Moss.
Oculus, maybe?
I don't know.
It might be on Steam.
It was. I think it was PS5 exclusive for PSVR exclusive for the longest time, and then it came to Oculus a bit later.
It might be on PC, but anyway, it is definitely worth your time. You can usually get it for pretty cheap. Well,
Oculus Quest.
Moss Book 2 just came out last month, and it had a super disappointing release, which is a bummer because it's a great developer, really creative, kind of storybook style storytelling. It's just they've put themselves in the tiny little box that is PSVR. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's primarily a device that's people think of with a last gen console, even though technically you can make it work with your PS5. It's a bummer.
Is part 2 only because they went back and updated the first one where you can just play without VR, right?
Yeah, I think you have to play on PSVR, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Okay.
So I don't know if this is true or not. This is as reported by on PSN Profile. So some people on Video Game Chronicles looked this up. So take it for what it's worth. PSN Profile is a site that tracks users' trophy information and tells you kind of how many game owners there are for that game, which is kind of interesting if it's a significantly higher or lower number. So I don't know how accurate this is, but it lists just over 100 people as owning the game across 2 SKUs. And then in comparison, Weird West came out the same day as Moss Book 2, has over 700, which is essentially a no-name indie game and it was on Game Pass as well. So it had that going against it, where people could play it for free on Xbox, and it still had significantly more owners than an exclusive for PlayStation. Yeah. So I don't know how accurate that is, but it does. This is one of those games that I remember seeing the release date was on the way. I remember seeing once it released, it got really good reviews. It's at 84 on Metacritic, 7.8 out of 10 for user rating. So it's getting very positive responses, but man, no one's playing it.
Who's digging up their old, like people are gonna, if they're gonna even consider jumping back into VR, they're waiting for the PSVR 2. Like
exactly.
And that's if they even, because depending on how much that costs and the quality of it. And so like who's digging up their old dusty PlayStation, which was like what the sort of least like overall good VR headset. Like there's all the other ones that are better. So
yeah,
you know,
but it's a bummer. It's a good developer. It is a solid. I'm telling you, like if you guys like kind of 3D platforming action adventure games, it's a good game. And so I assume the second one is carrying that on. It's just it's a bummer. Anyway, so that's a little bit of bad news, but here's some more middle of the road, or at least good news. Ghost of Tsushima is getting another big final patch, which is, and I say final because they're saying outside of bug fixes and other unexpected things that pop up, this is their final patch for Ghost of Tsushima, which is kind of cool because it's like, hey, they're moving their focus into something else. Ghost of Tsushima 2, perhaps, whatever that sequel is going to look like, or something else. I mean, Sucker Punch makes good games, so who knows what's coming next for them. But they did put out a thank you for continuing to support the game. They'll keep monitoring feedback and prioritizing bug fixes and things like that. But 2.18, the upcoming patch, is likely to be their final one. So there you go.
Cool.
Yeah, please move forward. Please move forward.
Make the next thing.
Sucker Punch, right?
Yeah.
Please move forward with the next project.
Is there a dryer on?
I was gonna ask. It sounds like a. Like
it might be me. It's my water sprinkler system or whatever. The pipes like rattle or whatever. So
I was gonna say it sounds like almost like somebody dragging chains or like some like ghost.
Exactly what it sounds like. Yeah, for 45 minutes.
Ebenezer.
I'll mute myself unless I'm talking. So
I just wasn't sure. I was like, what's going on? Like somebody beating somebody with some chain.
Didn't mean to put you on blast. I just for some reason I thought I heard a dryer, and it took me back to.
It's my sex dungeon.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Sure.
Got it. No, it took me back to the early days of podcasting with just me and Derek, and I'd be like, what is that noise in the background? He was like, oh, it's just my son beating up my other son. It'd be stuff like that,
Sure. In the nude. Right?
Stuff like that. Yeah. I still
like that one episode.
I remember when he walked in naked, and it was so friggin' funny. I just put like censor bars across the thing, and
that was a thing that happened.
That was so funny.
It had happened.
Oh boy! All right, 4 classic Siphon Filter games have been newly rated for the PS4 and PS5. So I think it's safe to say those are very highly likely to be a part of the PlayStation Plus premium plan.
I have never played those. I was not. I was more of like I went just to N64 right into PS2, and then to Xbox 360. I never played the Siphon Filter games.
Yeah,
they're fine.
They're fine.
I went the Metal Gear Solid, Splinter Cell kind of, even though I know this kind of predates that. Maybe not Metal Gear Solid, but some of the other stuff. But the Siphon Filter didn't really do it for me after, like Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, so exactly. Once Metal Gear existed, it was like Siphon what? Like,
I see.
I think they do hit a really cool like tone of nostalgia. Like I'll try them out if they're on that service. But they're not amazing. They're not classics that hold up the way that Metal Gear and Splinter Cell games do, in my opinion. But they are pretty cool. So there you go. And as part of that news, and Sony has since confirmed this, they're targeting June 13th for the Americas as far as releasing their new PlayStation Plus plans. They're going to do it in waves. Looks like the Asia region is going to get it, I think, end of May, or maybe it was that first week of June, and then the Americas, and then Europe, June 23rd. Or something.
Are they going by biggest market? Is their biggest market in Japan/Asia?
It's possible. I just know that I think they're trying to roll it out in a way
Like
that allows
the sample
them to,
size is larger for them in the first. I don't
it
know,
might
maybe
be
Japan
smaller. It might be a smaller total audience, and that's why they're going there first to test
okay.
it out, see how. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Asia markets 23rd of May, Japan targeting June 1st, America's June 13th, Europe June 22nd. So.
There you go.
They're anti-America. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Sony's always hated this. It's fine.
They're the opposite of you, Jeff.
USA. All right.
USA.
So God of War Ragnarok. You have to say it like that because there's a little umlaut over the O or whatever. Yeah.
Ragnarok.
Their developer.
Ragnarok.
They're assuring players that it's still targeting 2022. So on Wednesday, Sony Santa Monica Studio tweeted a video of Cory Barlog asking fans to remain patient for news on the upcoming sequel because it's been very quiet. And so the assumption is starting to build, and myself included, like, all right, this probably is like the Zelda situation where it's very quiet, and then they'll say, sorry, we have to delay it out of the expected window. But they've said, thank you for your patience. We've got more stuff coming. And it got tons of replies from followers concerned that this is going to get delayed to 2023. And then
which is fine if that happens, by the way.
Exactly.
None of us here are expecting it.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is still...
I'm expecting it.
Exactly.
Except for Dan. Except for entitled Spider-Man down there. But it was also tweeted by the animation director of the game named Bruno Velasquez, and he was asked by a follower directly, please reassure us it's coming this year. And he responded with, Ragnarok is coming this year. So I don't know if that means that the game is coming this year or if the end of the world is coming this year. I'm not sure what he meant.
Sure, both.
Could be both.
And again, this is the issue and sort of like the entitlement of people being like, where's the info? Where's it? It's like, if you just didn't say anything to begin with, then people wouldn't be they'd still be asking, be like, oh, when's the sequel? It's like, well,
right.
We'll tell you when we feel like telling. So if you just wait until you're like pretty much sure, and then you drop that bombshell, that's like super exciting.
Man, that'd be super rad to have a game of the year come out because there hasn't been one yet.
Wow, why would you say that about Horizon, Jeff? That's rude.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
I was like, I had to unmute for this.
That is chains now. That's how angry I am. You're rattling my chains, man.
I actually don't hear the background
now.
anymore.
Is calling Elden Ring super dumb. That's my gimmick. I'm full on embracing that at this
That's
point.
fine.
That's your shtick.
That's totally fine. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if this does get bumped until the spring of 2023. That'll be 5 years between the two games. I feel like that for a game of that scope, that's totally appropriate. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever. Yeah, we'll see what happens if it does land this holiday.
We don't really even know the scope of this game, right? Like how big? Like we don't know anything about that. Like we saw a town like in the gameplay,
yeah.
So like you can assume it's.
I thought they showed a shot of the map. I could have been mistaken on that. I thought they showed like in all the gameplay presentation. I thought they showed the map or something.
Yeah, but
maybe it was just him overlooking
how many towns are in that map. You know, are they all going to be as big as the one that we saw? Like it just like I
feel like it should be bigger, but we'll see.
I feel like it's going to be the same, if not bigger. Because I mean, why would you make it smaller? Like that would be weird.
It'd be hilarious, actually. Like a shorter, more refined experience.
Because I don't need it to be all open. They can do.
Well, it could be like Miles Morales, right?
One, you know.
Yeah, give me the linear areas like they had before with a few little offshoot things to go explore and find extra items.
I loved finding the little islands off to the side with impossible dudes there waiting for me. Yeah.
But not feeling overwhelmed with the map like before we were recording. That's kind of how I feel with Horizon, which by the way I'm still playing, and man, I love that game. But I did just finish one of the tall neck sequences where you have to fight the robot monkeys to get up to that one.
Okay.
And
those
so
guys can be a pain.
They're really annoying. But anyway.
Oh my god, dude, that was the most infuriating part of that entire game. Was that? Oh my god.
That was really that was a frustrating one.
On the ground, you're talking about the one where you climb the trees and you have to jump over. Yeah, I kept even though I was jumping right at the freaking tall neck, I kept falling because the game is stupid and horrible. Yeah. So
that was a problem. I fell a couple times. Thankfully, they give you ladders you can kick down, which is nice, but still, the monkeys were annoying. But all that to say, I unlocked that tall neck, and then it went to my map, and all of a sudden the fog like kind of like halfway lifts where you still have to explore, but it shows you all the icons.
It's grayed out.
And I actually just went like, as it opened up and all the icons that are popping up, I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't know if I can keep doing this, man.
You had a Derek moment.
I did. I had one of those moments where I was like, it was a Ubisoft moment where I was like, oh, that's so much.
And that is a fair comparison because there are a lot of the same things available. Yeah. And I didn't even, when I beat the game at 60 hours, I can't even remember how long it was. But when I beat it, I still left some things undone because I was like, you know what? I have my fill of those. I know what those offer. I think I'm good. I got all the tall necks. That's all that mattered to me.
I got to like 80 something hours and I still had some stuff like because I definitely was going off the beaten path, but
I think I'm just shy of 50 hours, so I'm feeling like it's going to be about a 60-hour game or so for me, and I will leave a lot of stuff behind. It's just the way it is. Yeah. But I compare it to that because I don't care that they built that game that way. I don't care that Ubisoft builds their games that way. I might not be in the mood for it one way or the other. You know, same with Uncharted games. I don't mind that they've become more open area over the years, which is cool. And I'm curious to see what they do in the future. But they are relatively linear. Like here's your level, here's your chapter, and you go from this to this, and then there's your cutscenes and your major moments. I'm not going to complain that it's not open world. I like that. You built it that way. I'm going to experience it that way. And same thing with these open world games. You built it to be open, and I'm going to have to explore in order to really enjoy this. That's totally fine. And I want God of War. I prefer for them to make the sequel a lot like the first game. Yeah. And that is kind of more on the Uncharted side of things compared to open world, where it's a little more linear, although I would say you actually do backtrack a lot in the God of War games. So there is a lot of almost Metroid style going back now that you have a certain skill.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So anyway, I want more of that. I'm assuming you guys are the same way. Like, give me more of the God of War.
I thought the way that they did the 2018 one was just like pretty much perfect, as near perfect as that type of game could be. So just do more of that, dude. Just do more of that.
And I want more of
I need to reinvent the wheel here.
I don't want to build a town or whatever. It's not that kind of game.
No.
Please don't have me build.
You know what? I will build a town in any game.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I'm always down for a good HQ. So I don't cross the line, Jeff, but also I get what you mean.
Well, no, I just mean
you don't need to add too much pizzazz.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want to like build. Well, now I got to build a cabin over here, and then I got to build a cabin over there. I don't want to do that type of stuff.
Jeff, you got to get 14 logs. You know.
Well, I want Kratos to be like the guy in charge of like a team, and he's like yelling at everybody to like do like their tasks. Like
there's a rock lifting game where he's like lifting a rock. You know.
Hold LB to give command. Like I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
Yeah. You know what? I'm back on Jeff's side.
I hold LB to threaten them just to get it done while I leave. Can I do that?
4-man Kratos, you know.
I mean, it is, you know, to kind of allude to something we're going to talk about later. It is kind of like in the Norse mythology now, so you know he could totally own slaves and it's normal.
Sure. You don't have to say that anymore. You have to call it like fire spray. I think you have to call it that now.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of which, I don't know about you guys, but I love narrative. Like as far as the narrative goes, I really like knowing that this is the second of 2 parts of this God of War story. Like they've already said that ahead of time. Now they might end up digging more into Norse mythology afterward. That might have been a whole load of crap. But Cory Barlog, I think it was, or maybe it's the new game director for I forget who said it, but they made it really clear. Yeah. Like this is intended to wrap up this story. Like that was part 1.
So
and this
exciting.
Is part 2. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. There's like a finale. Like we're gonna get a finale.
We know where we're going.
Like, yeah, and we've arrived there. It's happening.
I mean, it would have to be like Odin, right? I mean, that's.
I mean, maybe I don't know how far into killing the Pantheon are we going to
go? It would be Odin.
Odin would be the top, but
I was gonna say who's the top of Norse mythology?
I do think I mean it could be a red herring, but it does seem to me like Thor is going to be your main antagonist, but I do think Odin's going to play a major role. I just don't know that he'll be the like they might not go. It's too predictable to make, you know, Zeus was the main one for the first 3 and now Odin will be for the why not make it Thor and let Odin play more of a gray in between role, you know? I don't know.
Also, I just want to put it out there. I don't know if this is going to happen. I just want to put it out there. You kill Thor in the very first act, and that's Odin for us.
Dude, it could be.
Like it's like the game really opens with a fight with Thor, and like you just it's the tutorial battle. You just decimate.
Dude, it
them.
could be an end game moment where you kill Thor and then it says 5 years later, and then like
that'd be amazing.
Do you remember the fight?
Yeah.
Do you remember the fight in God of War 3 with Poseidon? That's like super visceral, where it's like first person, like he's looking at Kratos just beating the shit out of him. So maybe something like that with Thor. That's how it opens up. Like you're just demolishing Thor, and then it's and then it kind of goes.
If we're picking up right where that scene leaves off, that's how the game starts, is a fight with Thor. It's just we'll see how that all shakes out.
It could be really straightforward, where Thor's your bad guy from first scene to the end scene, kind of like Baldur was, and that worked, and it worked great. But they could throw a monkey wrench in that whole thing and make Thor much more of a, like, he's this big figurehead to get you kicked off, but man, Odin's really the threat here. That'd be cool.
It's the god. It's about the gods you kill along the way, Tim.
Kind of like Thor's obnoxious sons, like where they were. I mean, granted, Baldur.
Those fights were so cool, though, man.
But those sons were like huge obstacles before you got to the final fight. And
dude,
those fights were awesome. Yeah,
those fights were so cool, so cinematic with the smoke and stuff. Oh. Man, I love that game. I might need to replay
Boy
that.
was so
I want to play it.
Those fights. I love those fights for that. I'm like, what is this boy doing here trying to help me out? Get out of here, bro.
Boy.
Fighting gods, bro.
If you're listening, you haven't played God of War and you own a PS4 or PS5, what's wrong with you? Go play it right now.
Better yet, if you've played it and you hate it, what's wrong with you?
Extra, what's wrong with you? That's right.
Yeah, we know somebody.
It's the same. It's the same people that don't like Horizon, right? It's the same people that don't like Horizon.
There is a real big.
Was that your water pipes again? Was that noise your water pipes?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
There it is. It sounds like chain.
Oh my
That's
God.
how chains sound.
All right. Well, in a very rare move, a game release date has actually been moved up. It's closer now, as opposed to being moved back, and that's Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is now coming out July 29th, as opposed to September. I think it just had a September date. It didn't have like a It had a window.
Yeah.
What a huge surprise!
That's great, man.
Like, this is ready. It's like
game.
What?
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. That's right.
It's so ready. We're gonna put it out 2 months early. Like I don't know. That's so nutty to me. And those are big games.
They're huge games. They're very niche games. They're the kind of game like similar to the Tales game that Dan talked about in Game of the Year last year, where it's not gonna strike the right notes with everybody, but if you play it and love it, you've got about 100 hours probably plus of gameplay ahead of you to enjoy if you like it.
No, thank you. No,
but,
thank you on that.
So they're very, very deep games. I think the second one average. I should look it up. I think the second one was 50, right?
What was the spinoff? What was the spinoff game that was like mostly about mechs? That was also on the Wii U, I think.
Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yeah, I want another one of those.
Yeah.
Give me like giant, like you're fighting like monsters the size of like mountains, like in a mech. It's so cool.
Check this out. So Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which is on Switch, highly recommend it if you like JRPGs. Main story only averages 51 hours to beat, plus extras about 80. Everything 135.
Yeah.
If you played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, another amazing Switch game, like one of those dark horse favorites of me for that year, even though I didn't finish it, I played probably 30, 40 hours. I loved that game. Main story is 64 hours, plus extras over 100, completionist over 250. I mean, and that's not counting because they released DLC called The Golden Country, which was an additional 20 to 40, depending on how much you decide to play that one. So that's crazy. That's crazy.
Kingdom Hearts games are shorter than that, and Kingdom Hearts gets like a bad rap all the time. Where it's like, here, just play 1,000 hours of Kingdom Hearts. You can catch up. You can play Kingdom Hearts 4 along with everybody.
Dude, the size of these games too, and like the amount of time it's taken them to make, like it's a reasonable amount of time. Like it's insane.
The assets that they reuse is like minimal. They're not reusing the same map. They're not reusing the same.
Yeah.
You know, the combat's even pretty changed. The foundation is pretty similar, but like it changes pretty extraordinarily as well.
Oh yeah.
I can't believe how much time goes into these games.
Creature design is brand new. It's all like fresh.
Right. Excuse me. How well they utilize their time to make these games. It's just it's out of this world.
I think they were helping on some other random game too, in the middle of like I think maybe between
Monolith?
Xenoblade 1 and 2. Yeah, Monolith. I think they were helping.
I think they were helping with something.
It might have been Smash, but I could be wrong. Yeah. Or was that Namco Bandai? I don't remember.
Namco Bandai.
I swear I remember
that Bandai Namco.
Or Bandai Namco.
Oh, did they swap it or did we swap it?
I think it's Bandai Namco.
I think it is Bandai Namco. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I played a lot of Elden Ring, and that comes up before I fired up.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, major summer release. pretty niche, but I think a big enough game that we've got something this summer, because it does
Jeff
feel like
day one for Jeff.
It does. Yeah, I know. Listen, it does feel like outside of some kind of casual
Not
games,
even day 150.
like
Sorry, go ahead.
Mario Strikers, right? The sequel to that comes out in June. So there's some fun kind of party.
That's a lot. Those are some big games though for Nintendo. Like that's a 1-2 punch. Because in our group, people were really hot on that football game.
Nintendo this summer has Fire Emblem Warriors, the sequel to that one, right? The new Fire Emblem? Yeah, Fire Emblem Warriors. Or was it
I'm excited for that one.
I forget which. It's one of their Warriors games. It's coming up.
It's Fire Emblem. Yeah.
Okay, and then it's Mario Strikers. And that's not to even talk about Switch Sports later this month. And then now you've got Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So Nintendo is delivering this summer, and I don't see much from the other major platforms in terms of exclusives for sure. But even third party, you got until, is it August that Saints Row comes out, or is that later now?
I think it's August. I don't think it got pushed back again. No.
Okay, so Saints Row is probably the next big thing that.
It's funny because I keep on hearing people, not in our group, but like in games media, they're like, yeah, nothing's coming out till Saints Row in August, and you just listed like 4 or 5 games that like 1,000% getting day one. Yeah.
Yes, if you ignore Nintendo, then that statement's kind of true, but there's a lot of stuff to be excited about between now and then.
There's little games too, Trek to Yomi and all that type of the quarry.
Yeah, that's soon too. Like we're gonna get that real soon.
Trek to Yomi. That's in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah,
and it's gonna be on Game Pass, right? So.
And Cinco de Mayo, as the Japanese wanted.
It's
on Cinco de Mayo comes out, as the Japanese would want it.
Revenge of the Fifth.
Yeah, you got it.
If y'all are supporting Star Wars Week that week.
So it was Breath of the Wild that they helped with.
Monolith did?
Yeah.
Oh, I do remember that.
That's the one that I was thinking of, because it's like, the size of the map and everything.
Teach us how to make a big map full of
right.
Whatever.
Dude, yeah. The Xenoblade Chronicles 2 just. Other than Breath of the Wild, there's very few games on a handheld device that made me kind of go like, "Whoa, this is like sweeping. This is amazing." And I guess Monster Hunter Rise hit some of those same notes too, to give that credit as well. So some of those games on Switch will surprise you, and that's one of them.
I don't know how they get that machine to pump out that much power. It's just crazy to me.
I know it is
sorcery.
Game Boy and Game Boy Advance emulators for the Switch have apparently been leaked. At least this is what people are saying. And this has been rumored for a long time, but now it seems like maybe there's some actual data pointing towards Nintendo launching Game Boy and Game Boy Advance as part of their Switch online service. It appears, again, if this leak is accurate, to list over 40 Game Boy Advance games, including Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap, which is an amazing... Is it Minish or Minish?
I always said Minish, but I don't know.
Minish makes sense.
Dude, that game is fantastic. That was Capcom.
It is. Capcom, yeah.
And it's really good. I loved that game. Really fun. Like, you can kind of shrink down to this miniature size, which is makes it kind of introduces a whole new way to do puzzles and stuff. It's very creative.
So that means if it's Game Boy Advance, the other Zelda games, right? Like Memory of Seasons and
should.
Yeah, that's odd. So I'm sorry. Did they say how many games are coming out?
Oh no, those were that was Game Boy Color. But anyway, 40.
Oh, you're right.
They're saying 40 games, including that Metroid Fusion, Castlevania: Aria of Sorrow, which is good. I can confirm. Mega Man Battle Network. Those are like turn-based RPG games.
People like those, yeah.
So anyway, I don't know if this is going to actually end up being true, but it wouldn't surprise me if
it's interesting though, because it's like, all right, so this leak has listing just right out the gate 40, but we know how Nintendo does things.
Oh yeah.
So is it either this is just complete malarkey, or are they going to piecemeal this out? Like my brain's trying to figure out, because it's like if there's just 40 ready to go, Nintendo doesn't just usually drop like that large of a chunk of games with the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis and N64. They haven't really just dropped a whole huge amount like that.
Correct.
So
yeah, I imagine it'll be a wave of whatever, a couple dozen maybe, and then they'll trickle them out for a few months after that, and then they'll just stop because.
Which is absurd, right? Because if that's the case, if 40 of these are ready and they release 12 out the gate, it's like, all right, so where are the rest, guys? We know that they're available. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's like
either just plan ahead and be like, here's the 2 a month we're gonna have, and here we go, or just release them all. You know what I mean? I got babies yelling at my door. I hear
He's also mad at Nintendo. He's also mad at Nintendo.
All right, so let's keep moving here. Splatoon 3, everybody. Let me read your faces. Excitement levels? No? Okay. Well, that's coming out September 9th. So, listen.
It could come out tomorrow and I wouldn't care.
Cancel your September plans, everybody.
This continues my statement that Nintendo is delivering this year. They continue to just, and it's not quite every month.
For people with horrible taste, maybe.
It's not.
You're
quite
really just feeling
month,
that Derek void, huh?
But
just...
man, I feel like
first Splatoon hate. Yeah, sure.
I feel like every 3 to 6 weeks there's some major Nintendo game. Sometimes it's a 3-week split between them. Sometimes it could be about a month and a half. But here comes the next big Nintendo thing, and so man, they're going to continue that because end of July is Xenoblade 3, and then about 5-6 weeks later you're going to have Splatoon 3. I'm not going to play all these games they're putting out, but the Nintendo shelves are going to continue to have a new game rotating through. That's impressive.
Yeah, well, that's what people usually complain about with Nintendo, right? Just the silence, not.
And as a wide variety, like look at their release slate for this year. There's a wide variety of games that they're hitting this year. If you include stuff like Triangle Strategy and Pokemon Legends, and then Switch Sports and Mario Strikers, and then Fire Emblem Warriors, and it's crazy.
Another Pokemon at the end of the year, this is the real one that everyone's excited about.
A brand new
is it at the end of the year?
If they drop Bayonetta, if they drop Bayonetta 3 in October and then Pokemon in November, they've got this year covered. Like
if they drop Bayonetta, which they're not, that game's never coming out. I don't care how much we see of it; like it's just never coming out at this point.
Damn.
That's my most anticipated game, but like I'm just
I think that's either an August or October game. I think it's either.
I hope you're right. I think it'd be awesome for them to I don't know, just really own this whole year, especially after kind of a slow kind of couple years. So agreed.
Well, Halo Infinite is finally going to get some campaign co-op, but not anytime soon. Right now, they're saying it's going to be August when the campaign co-op hits, and that's just for online split.
They originally said before season 2, but that's cool.
Split screen co-op, possibly in November.
Well,
so
somebody left that team recently, right?
Yeah.
That could have been. I'm trying to see who it was.
The one person who knows how to do co-op left the team.
Yes.
Charlie, he left with all the code. Steve walked out the door with the online code. We have no idea what we're doing.
It's Chris Co-op just walked out the door. Christopher.
No, never mind. It was a lead multiplayer designer, so nothing to do with the single player content. So
there you go. Well, in any case, they clearly didn't prioritize this, and I get it, but also I don't get it because that's one of the most appealing things about all the Halo games is people love to play these games with friends, but it is what it is. All right, so Marvel Avengers. I can't believe I'm talking about this game still. You guys suck for putting this in here. Or maybe I put it in here.
I didn't put it in.
I mean,
you get final say. You can just skip.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't have to say anything.
No, but I want to say it because it ties into something we'll talk about later, and we're going to talk about the Thor: Love and Thunder trailer. But they announced right after that trailer dropped that Jane Foster's Mighty Thor is going to be the next playable hero in that game, and it's coming in May, just a couple months before the movie. I think you might as well make that July, like make it coincide with the movie.
No, wrong one.
Stay frosty. I don't know what that's for. So anyway, there you go.
They're literally copying and pasting Thor to another avatar.
Like it makes sense. They're doing marketing for the movie. I go, then why not do Doctor Strange then if they're marketing for a movie? Like that's a different character. This was the easiest they could do. You know, it's the easiest they could do. So that's what they did.
And with this announcement, one of the developers admitted on Reddit that they're not doing roadmaps anymore.
No
kidding. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, because nobody invested in Kyle, anymore. Yeah.
You just that gave me a thought. If they did say, "Here comes Doctor Strange, a brand new type of character with new gameplay," I might actually try it.
I might all day just to feel what it felt like.
Especially if it was Scarlet Witch, even if it was like anybody with a different style of gameplay. Yeah,
more of like a crowd
control for the new Agatha show. I don't give a crap.
I feel like it's like a combat style that's more crowd control, or like maybe taking over enemies, making them fight each other, and like kind of just manipulating the battlefield. Like I would give that a whirl, 100%. Even if they were like, hey, there's like a 4 or 5 mission storyline we've added, or something short and what doesn't matter. Like I would try that out. I really would.
That's been about the length of all of the
DLCs.
Playable DLCs.
What's the difference in like animation even going to be between these guys? Like, is Thor like throws his hammer overhanded and she throws it underhanded? Is that like those differences?
I imagine it being the tiniest of differences. Like
like they do absolutely no work to.
I found a more appropriate emoji. Here we go.
It's dripping down too.
Hey, if you're just an audio listener, you're missing all the fun emojis. Actually, I don't know. Do they show up on the recording? I think they do.
Do they? I'm not actually entirely.
I don't even see more than 5. Oh, never mind. There's a pencil.
Yeah, I was gonna say you click on the pencil guy.
Oh
Holy
yeah, it opens
mother
up
God!
a
This is the
whole new
this
world.
is the episode now. This is the episode.
Hang on.
We don't talk. We just do emoji.
We just do
It's a purely
emojis.
visual art form, guys. So you have to watch us now. Yeah.
How do you make it go?
how I shot web.
There you go. Hold on, you do the green face, and then you do this guy.
Oh, that's a double. So that's not the same one. Oh wow.
Look at Tim. We're keeping it positive. Keeping it P, Tim.
I'm keeping it P, you guys. I'm keeping it P.
Good job.
If these aren't showing up on the screen, people think we're insane.
For sure.
For those of you just listening, or if this is not showing up on the video, we're playing around with the emoji responses on Skype.
All of us are leaning forward as we're looking at the bottom of it.
We do the Dan thing where we get real close to our camera.
This is a real good one. There we go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There you go. That's
you know what?
Derek
That's very inclusive.
Save that for June because we don't need to do that before that month.
Oh, that's right. My bad.
Only for June. We only celebrate.
Yeah, jump on the gun.
World of Warcraft. Speaking of old games, wow. World of Warcraft, their expansion Dragonflight has been officially announced. But to me, as an old WoW player, and I used to love WoW way back in the day, and I loved the Wrath of the Lich King DLC. I thought that was one of the coolest DLCs. The story was really awesome. The new boss fights and classes that new I forget what it's called, the Dark Knight, or I forget what that new class was, but it was so cool. And they're releasing what's called Lich King Classic as well, so you can kind of go back and re-experience that content that's been kind of reimagined a bit. So because every DLC they put out overhauls a good chunk of the world, there's usually some big story, like Cataclysm kind of wrecked the old original land that you had. Now there's this huge gash of lava in it and stuff. So every expansion, to their credit, they're changing the experience, but it does take people out of what the experience was before. That's just gone,
Interesting.
So anyway, Lich King Classic is supposed to come out. There's no release date for either of those, I don't think. But there you go. WoW content still.
I think this is the last MMO that does this, because this is pretty common of like Ultima Online and like EverQuest and stuff, where like they implode so big, like in sequels or like an ongoing game, but then they always revert back to the original version at some point. Even Star Wars Galaxies did that. There's these like rogue servers where you can play the old version of Star Wars Galaxies on it, but they don't. That doesn't happen anymore though. That's kind of a 1990s, early 2000s thing. Yeah, very weird.
So Star Wars Galaxies was one of my favorite MMOs for a good chunk of time there as well. Loved that game.
3 years of my life, yeah.
and I really loved that game kept the idea of Jedi as just this very out of reach, mysterious thing that only very few players discovered. These special cubes and like really, really rare, and you had to look it up online. And I never experienced it for myself. But then at the end, they essentially unlocked for everyone to be able to do it, and that took the specialness right out of it.
Yeah, well, but like no one had to be a prostitute for a little while before like getting like your bounty hunter armor, like because you could like be in town, you could be like a barista or work at the cantina or be a dancer, or you know, like you can like join the Imperium, and like or the Empire and get paid and stuff like that. Like that, you had to take a job and you had to get online and like go to your job, and so like it was a very involved game. But yeah, when you saw a Jedi, like you wouldn't even believe it was a person. You're like, that's probably a dev, like there's no way, anybody reached that, because it was just so impossible. But yeah, one day they updated it, and there were 10,000 Jedis in every server, and just everyone running around Tatooine with like.
Dude, that was such a creative MMO, because I remember my combat was a carbineer, so I used those carbine weapons, and I was okay. It turns out pistolier would have been way better, but whatever. So I was a carbineer, and he was pretty good. But then my secondary skill or whatever class was a ranger, and so I could set up these big tents that everyone could rest in, but also I actually had people pay me in-game money, of course, to go help them track down certain things that they needed, because with my abilities as a master ranger, I could go to a planet with someone and then take them straight to where a thing was, because I could see things on my map or find it much.
And that game was designed for you to like seek out people like, hey, you look like you're a marauder or whatever. Yeah.
And same thing with like the dancers and the musicians, like they give you buffs that no one else can give you. So that was the idea, was to like, let's make every class have something unique that makes everything useful. And I thought it was really cool the way they did that.
Dancer or prostitute, Tim? Which one is it?
Yeah, let's go dancer.
Could you be a Jedi prostitute?
Just to say, I don't think all dancers are prostitutes. So that's the official.
You already said that you thought that, Kyle. So it's too late.
Could you be a dancer? Could you be a prostitute Jedi though? Was that possible? Or
You could if you knew how to like become.
I feel like that's conflicting ideologies, though, right? I mean,
I mean, you would have to be reformed. You couldn't give lap dances anymore as a Jedi.
Sure. A gray Jedi. You'd be a gray Jedi.
Don't say that word. Don't say that word in the chat. And a fan
my bad. EU lore, right?
Well, Kyle, this will interest you, I think, more than most. Back for Blood's DLC is coming. Actually, it's already out now. It came out a week and a half ago. I don't know if you tried any of this yet. The Tunnels of Terror DLC.
I haven't, but I love the idea that only one person in your party has to own the DLC to bring your whole party in. So, like, if I bought it, like, we could all jump into my game and like go on the ride together. So,
it's apparently a good chunk of new content that they've added there, and enemies and gear and a new what do they call the new hero style, the new class or whatever they call it. There's a new
character.
There's a new class, really?
I think so.
Oh, cool.
Or a new operator. I forget what they're called.
I don't know.
Is Operator Rainbow Six? I can't remember.
I think it's Rainbow Six.
Shooty person.
It's another new zombie killer type. Okay.
Yeah.
There was a showcase for the Saints Row customization. Oh my gosh.
I know. I watched it. Kyle watched it. Yeah.
It was way too early in the morning for that bullshit, man. Like they put out the craziest trailer at like 7 a.m. Eastern, and like
for them, they were up all night doing that, and they're like, just launch it, dude, just launch
it, man, launch it as is, bro, just launch it, man. Yeah. And like I just woke up.
Tell me some of the highlights.
It immediately like put me in a good mood that morning. But you can change your nipple size, you could change your genitalia size, you can make yourself really vascular or not at all, you can make your skin shiny, how much sweat's on you, like there's so much, like it is the most customization probably next to like a WWE game or something like that. Like it's
probably even more.
It's
probably more because of all of the vehicle customization.
Oh, and then you go, and then you can customize
the weapon customization, of course. But like the vehicles are like they've added way more even zanier stuff, like hover. You get like a hover bike or something like that, I think. Or like a hoverboard, kind of like from like Back to the Future. Like you have one of those. And some of the weapons are just as stupid. Where like you can send somebody launching like into the air by just I don't even remember what the weapon was, but it was like kind of like I don't remember what it was, but it was like just the vast majority of the weapons are just totally new to the game, and they had to get really creative for some of these because the weapons in the cars were already creative in the previous games.
Yeah. They had I guess that was my other point. Was after I was done watching it, I was like, you know what this still feels like? Saints Row, like it has this entire time.
Which people said it didn't, right?
Yeah, that was the big complaint.
That's been the drum that people have been beating all along.
Because of the hipster-looking characters in the initial trailer, like
that's up to you, though. Yeah,
but I mean, it's because they're being sold that out the gate, right? So everyone has to jump on the one opinion and then stay there. So
right. I played every Saints Row game, and I can't believe it's like, well, if you played every game, you know that like the customization's insane always in these games, and it's just kind of up to you to like. You can even change what your like foot soldiers look like. So if you don't want any millennial foot soldiers, turn them into ninjas. Because you can do that. You can turn your whole gang
millennial
into
ninjas.
Millennial ninjas. Oh my god.
I like that this map, and I know they've already touched on it before, but I like that it's got like a desert area, and that's a whole new level of customization that you're gonna have for your vehicles. Is like dirt tires or whatever. So I think that I don't know, man, that really impressed me, and the fact that you can put like emojis where your genitals are instead of like, you can just you can just walk around with emoji genitals.
Yeah, I'm super
sure.
Well, listen,
I'm super on board, man. It's gonna be fun.
I am. I'm about 5.5, 6 hours into the new Tiny Tina game. I'm really enjoying it. I'm trying to play it more. I'm trying to pull myself away from the endless game that can be something like Elden Ring. I did the same thing last year with Valheim, where I just get caught in a game that I love the loop and I just want to keep playing it, but I have to like, you know what? There's other good games I've got to go experience, and so I'm purposefully setting that aside to play Horizon, and I'll talk about a few other ones I'm playing, and to play Tiny Tina. There's other excellent games out there. Yeah. Gearbox has announced a new Tales from the Borderlands entry. They're developing it in-house, and they're going to feature new characters. It's supposed to come out later this year, but I think that's really awesome because Tales from the Borderlands was one of my favorite Telltale games. So
that was
please have the
my
same
favorite.
Writer. Please have the same writer.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote that, please hire them because
that
game worked because the writing was so good.
And I mean, it had legitimate like. As goofy and silly as it is, there were moments that I was like, dude, I feel sad right now. Like that
finger gun part, like in the later part of the game. It's like one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a video game. I was laughing so hard. It was awesome.
And you had to it committed to it so hard that to the point that it felt serious. That's what made it funnier.
Name? Like he was like super funny too. Like he had the
I don't remember.
Loaderbot I think is what
Loaderbot, that's right. Oh my gosh, he was so funny.
He never really talked, but like just had like just a really weird dumb personality. I don't know. The whole game like really.
I'm curious to see what a Telltale game will look like, not developed by Telltale, because it's not going to be a Telltale game, but it's obviously it's going to keep the same.
I feel like it's going to be very similar looking. To what we saw before, just updated. But that
was
with you.
That
what
was
about
definitely my favorite Telltale game, period. Like, I mean, when I was in the finale and we were doing like a Power Rangers thing where like you're in a huge robot and you're like, shit.
All right, that's pretty cool.
I was okay, well, this is like the best Telltale game. There's like no contest.
It was really good. It was so fun.
Yeah.
What a good game. All right, so that's pretty exciting news. Even more exciting news, the new AEW game. And I know, Jeff, this is much more your thing than the rest of us as far as you're a big AEW fan, although I do like what you've said about what they're doing over there. I just haven't watched it. But the game that's being developed has my attention completely because there's been lots of references to the old THQ games, which were some of my favorite of any game back in the day.
Oh, same.
But it sounds like they've got a title now called Fight Forever.
Yeah, they're calling it Fight Forever, which is actually a common chant nowadays during a good match, like when it's just two crazy competitive
they just want them to keep going, keep fighting.
And it's just like, wow, this match is amazing. Just fight. They'll start chanting "Fight Forever."
I like that.
Like the 20-minute mark of an amazing match. They'll just start chanting it.
Well, they're saying maybe a September release date is what they're targeting.
That's the rumor. Nobody officially from AEW's camp has said that.
Okay.
And in fact, Fight Forever has long been rumored because dirt sheets pay attention to licensing agreements because that's all public, people pay attention to that on dirt sheets. They're like, oh, they licensed AEW Fight Forever. I wonder if that's the name of the game. And then sure enough, the president came out during the taping this week and said Fight Forever is the name of the game, confirmed that. Apparently they've invested 8 figures so far into this game. I really think their intentions are good. They want to give fans of old wrestling games a game they can love as much as those games. And they're involving Ukes, who used to do all of the WWE games, even the 2K ones they did up until like 3 or 4 years ago. They did the 2K games. They did the games that were way before that, like in the PS2 era. They've been involved for a long, long time. And like I mentioned before, they got that creative director from No Mercy being a consultant and stuff to kind of nail that arcade feel. So, I mean, God, I'm so excited for this, man.
Yeah, I hope it delivers. The tech demo they showed several months ago caught my attention. So I hope it delivers. That's all I've seen so far of the game, though. So we'll see if September.
Maybe the summer of games that the Keeley will. Yeah. Sounds like it'll all be on his shoulders. Maybe we'll get something from the summer.
I hope he almost like cries when talking about it, like he does with Elden Ring.
That's finally
here. It is. It's finally here. And then it's just like a character model of like,
easy, buddy, easy. Listen, Ubisoft. It's so funny with all these acquisitions going on. Now there's talk, and I don't have any info. I haven't seen any rumors about who is interested in acquiring Ubisoft. But there's been lots of chatter about there's interest in a buyout of Ubisoft and taking over. Yeah. And so with that, there's been an 11% stock jump for Ubisoft because of all the chatter about it. So
I wonder if Ubisoft leaked that info themselves. It's a common practice.
Good at that.
It's a common practice to leak that yourself. And pretend, it's insider trading basically, but it's a legal version of it apparently because people in power don't get held accountable for that stuff. So, so I wonder if they just leaked it themselves to increase their stock. WWE has done it several times. So
I hadn't even heard that this was a thing. I mean, it was Yves Guillemot and like the kind of like their family. They're like pretty much the main guys that have their hands on the stock and everything of that. It's not like just some like entity that's off to the side that owns them, which there was that whole thing that was going back and forth. I don't know if you guys remember. Was it Vivendi or something like that was trying to buy out Ubisoft, that whole thing? But
I remember that now.
Reminds me of the stock fluctuating so heavily nowadays. Reminds me of that happened also with Netflix when they announced their Q1 drop, and then they said their expected Q2 drop is like millions of viewers, and their stock like plummeted that day, which is Yeah,
can we talk about that? Like that whole thing? Like Jesus Christ, guys! Like, what are you doing?
They are delusional. They're as
morons.
delusional as is it EA or Ubisoft that's all on board the NFT train? Is it one of those two?
It was Ubisoft.
They are as delusional as them because they think it's password sharing, or at least that's what they're publicly saying.
Ubisoft announced
password sharing,
own,
guys. That's
their
why
own
we're losing
product, right? Wasn't it like Ubisoft?
Quartz. It was Quartz.
Quartz. Yeah, they have their own NFT.
Stupid.
Create your own NFT platform.
No.
No.
And then like publicly the president was like, "Oh no, the gamers just don't get it." Or
That's a gross emoji.
It's a
what do you mean? Your consumer, your whole demographic doesn't get it? Well,
yeah, gamers just don't get it.
But like
NFTs are huge, and it's like you mean your base, like your main customer base, like it's...
but like Netflix is being like the old man who's just like shrugging, like I know what I'm doing, you know, like it's the kids that are wrong, like that whole thing meme, like it's and like now you're gonna cancel the animation stuff, like go to hell, guys. Like if you take Arcane away from me, I swear to God.
And they're spreading themselves too thin where they're like, well, now we're going to go into gaming. It's like, you guys are losing out on the thing y'all started on. Like, fix that ship before you start expanding out into, like, areas that you have no idea how to work. You know?
HBO Max is just making them look like clowns, man. I mean,
every
week, HBO Max is just looking...
Just tops TV every week. It's amazing.
Exactly.
So, Netflix has not had a decline in subscribers, I don't think, for, like, 8 or 9 years or something like that.
Then they raise their prices, right?
That being said, I think I don't think this is like, Netflix is finally coming to an end. I think it's more of like there's going to be a shift of some kind. Either they decide, no, we are the premium product and our price is going to stay up here and whatever. That's fine if they want to do that. Or they're going to have to rethink. I think they've even talked about exploring, an ad-based model where they can have cheaper.
That was as a response to the decline in.
So I could see all those things happening, and I do think Netflix puts out a ton of content. The problem is I'm not interested in like 90%.
Right. They need to scale that back. Yeah.
And I think they are doing that. And I know we saw the big thing about animation being pulled back, and that's concerning to those of us who love some of their higher quality animated shows. But just to be clear, they have a lot of garbage.
They do that. Nobody watches.
But they acquired a lot of really good IP though.
They did. They did. There's a book series that my kids.
Now you're not gonna do anything with it.
My kids love the is it Wings of Fire, I think, book series of these dragons and stuff. They have the rights for that. They're developing a show for that. I didn't see that on their list to cancel. So I think a lot of their larger IP are still in development. I
didn't see anything that I recognized that was canceled, and I was like, then that's what they're going for.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you were to look through the list of Netflix originals, I bet we wouldn't recognize at least half of them, and we wouldn't care about like 80% of them. Right. We'd be mildly interested in the other 10%, and we would love that last 10%. Like, that's
you can usually tell from the thumbnail. You can gauge from the thumbnail, like, this is not for me. Who is this for?
I mean, some straight nonsense. Their volume of content. I mean, I'm really enjoying what I'm watching on Disney Plus, and I just got Hulu and all that stuff. I still think the Netflix volume of content. I could be totally wrong. I feel like they're way ahead
all that like shovelware that like the eShop has and PS5 has. That's what Netflix is. Yeah,
it's that, and they're charging more for it because they're thinking, look how much content we have. And I hope this show. I hope this is one of those things where they get to scale back the price again, like bring it back into competition, put it back at the $15 range like everybody else is. And then maybe have a $5 ad option if you want. That's fine. That's fair if they want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
the fact that they have been so adamant because competition does it already. They've been so adamant that we're never going to do that, and it's like, yeah, you freaking are, because your subscriber count is way low now compared to what it was.
Pull back on the unbelievable, like. Actually look at your data to find out what people are watching and care about, and focus on that stuff, and get rid of all this extra stuff. Like there's.
Well, I'm wondering if it's also like, because what's that? There's a show on there. I think it's called. Is it You? The one that's like the dude's a serial killer, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The
so
one
like
that romanticizes serial killers. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and it's like, and they're on season 3. It's like, why is there 3? But it's because the first season catches there's just the random people that are like that shit TV. That you watch on Lifetime, like
it's
a Lifetime
show, it's the same horny moms that watch Bridgerton. It's the same
Emily,
ones.
Like Emily in Paris.
There's the overlap in the Venn diagram. It's a circle.
They just hope that they make some garbage that didn't actually cost them a lot to make.
Right.
That like will hit some sort of lightning bolt, and everyone's like, oh my god, have you watched that garbage show? And then then they get more subscribers. Like that's probably what it is. They're just
like the Emily in Paris one, which I'm not going to pronounce it correctly. That's the stupidest title I've ever heard in my life. Like I don't know anybody that's watching this.
Yeah,
but I keep hearing podcasts going.
I think she was even surprised that I was like, I guess we're doing a second season of this, and I was just like, you're the star of the show. Like, what do you mean?
You know what? I can tell you too, as someone who just clicked on cancel my subscription for Netflix. So ours ends next Friday. As someone who just canceled Netflix, they didn't do anything to get me to stay. They didn't send me the follow-up email of like, here's a free month if you stay with us, like a lot of places do.
Yeah.
No, it was, we're sorry to see you go.
Yeah.
Like,
Apple even, which is $5 or whatever. Like
it's
whenever I try to I try to cancel my my trial, I signed up for it, I canceled immediately, and then they're like, we're gonna give you a month for free.
Yeah.
Okay.
Generous.
Try.
Even Hulu does that, dude. Hulu is Disney owned. Like they don't give a crap. They shouldn't. And
Netflix asked me why I'm leaving, and I only checked the box. It's because of the price. That's what I put. It's too expensive. And they didn't come back with like, hey, how about 50% off your next month or something. They didn't do anything, not even a small little attempt.
They don't care. They have that like winter syndrome where like now they're feeling losing. They're gonna have to right the ship.
We haven't canceled since 2014. Like we had canceled for a couple years before that, but then we resubscribed in 2014, and we've been ongoing customers for 8 years. You would think there'd be a little like, hey, send them a little free month or 50% off month or something before he ducks out, because they've been using us for a long time. Nope, nothing. So whatever, man. That's fine. That's fine.
Don't let the digital door hit you on the way.
Yeah, they're the most expensive. You know, the competition has continued to not raise prices and look better for it. Even Paramount Plus and Peacock look good compared to this. So
I agree.
Which is
it's
crazy.
It's not the volume of content, it's the quality. And I feel like Netflix has quality shows. They should focus on those, pull your price back, and just focus on those.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Last quick piece of news before we talk about stuff we're watching and then do our game is Modern Warfare 2 is looking like it's about to be officially revealed by Infinity Ward. So on Friday, their kind of the social media of Activision Studio went dark. The idea is its profile pictures and header images appeared to be complete darkness, but when enhanced, you can see what looks like the silhouette of the character Ghost, who's of course a fan favorite from the Modern Warfare game, and was not yet in the 2019 remake. Ghost wasn't officially there, although there's rumors about like character he could be or that kind of thing. But anyway, it sounds like Modern Warfare 2 is going to be announced imminently, and I'm excited for that because I really enjoyed 2019's.
Just keep those vibes.
I didn't touch that one, but I'll definitely diddle this one because I heard such amazing things about that one. So
the campaign is worth it, man. The campaign is really
that's why I like Black Ops Cold War so much.
Right.
It's like, jeez, man, this campaign's unreal.
Yeah, very cinematic, very fun, really epic, and just like adrenaline pumping. And then it's like, all right, maybe I'll do 2 online matches. Oh, that was a bad idea. Let me get out of here and go.
I really thought they were gonna flub it too. Like when I was like, oh, they're bringing back Modern Warfare to cash in on like a major success, and then the campaign was the best since Modern Warfare, really good. In my opinion. Yeah.
Yep, I agree. Welcome, Derek. Thanks for jumping on.
Hey guys.
Hey,
I've missed you.
Butt cut.
Call him Elden Cuck.
That I am. For sure.
That you are. Okay.
From software.
Cucking ring.
Cucking ring.
So what did I miss?
So we went over a bunch of headlines, and we're actually just now going to jump into our game. So I've got a quiz for you guys.
Why didn't you do the game first?
Here we go. He's already complaining.
I need 4 players.
I hate fun.
So you guys need.
I hate fun.
You need to either have a device. You're a bunch of old men. You need to either have a device.
Yes, we are.
Or just a separate browser window if you've got space to kind of see our call. Because you need to be able to see my screen share that I'll do in a second. And you need to be able to have your own. So this is a platform called Kahoot.
How do we get there, Tim?
Kahoot.it.
Let's see.
Your web address.
Let me hang on. It's one of those things where it's free, but it's keep trying to like tell you to upgrade. Okay.
So this is going to take Derek like 20 minutes, right? Because sometimes he can't even figure out a headset. So
let me share my screen. And so if you're watching on YouTube, I'll try to describe it for our audio listeners too. But so this is a quiz that requires you to go to kahoot.it. And I'll give you the pin here in a second. So go to kahoot.it. There's the screen share. There we go. All right. Tell me when you can see my screen. Are you seeing yourselves or just the screen?
I'm
seeing the screen, but
up.
it's half.
Oh, there we go.
There it is.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so then put in that pin.
Oh, nickname.
Or you can use the QR code if you're using your mobile device for this. But there you go. G.I. Jada, very good.
G.I. Jada. Who is also in the before mentioned Gotham show that we forgot to bring up.
Oh,
that's right.
Come on, guys.
And also was in
agent
Matrix.
for getting her that job.
Also was in the Matrix, right?
So, she was, yeah. Was bald in Gotham, so I don't know if Will Smith is on his way to slap me now, but that's just a fact. I wasn't even being rude.
All right, so the questions and answer options will be on my screen, so make sure you can see that. And then on your screen, you'll have the option to select your answer. So the way Kahoot works is the correct answer gets you a ton of points. Huh?
No, I had put in a nickname and it's not showing up, but it's.
Are you logged in or something, maybe?
Yeah. Oh, hold on 1 second.
Your joyful egret.
Joyful egret.
That's not who.
Egret.
Okay, so you'll see the answers on your device. It'll just be like the color, like it'll be like these 4 big boxes, and you got to pick that based on what you see on my screen. So the idea is if you answer quickly and correctly, you'll get the most points. So it's speed and getting it correct at the same time.
So I shouldn't eat while you're doing this.
I mean,
you're probably naturally pretty quick, so
you can if you want. You can if you want.
That is what she said.
he was giving you a softball there. All right, so this game, if you can't see on my tab on the top left here, it already gives it away. These are video game quotes, and so wait. Who else is joining?
God damn it! I was trying to do something. Never mind. Just fuck it.
Dan, you can't have 2 entries here.
Dan, yeah,
cheater.
No, what I was trying to do was do something funny. I was doing Coochie Crusher, but it didn't go through. But it didn't work, so never mind.
Your blue
Get out of here with your Gucci.
This website's too PC for me.
Oh my gosh. All right, so this is a video game quote. So you'll see a quote on my screen and then the 4 options of the character that said it and the game it's from. And then you pick that answer as quick as you can. You guys ready?
Okay. So
all
we're
right,
not we're not going to see the answer from watching your screen, are we? Right?
No.
Okay, cool. I'm just making sure.
Yeah, you're good. All right, here we go.
Because I want to cheat. Is there a way to cheat?
God damn it, Jeff.
I'm already cheating. So.
All right, starts in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. The first one. Before you die, I want to thank you, both of you. I've never felt more alive. Ironic, isn't it?
Sounds very Japanese.
So here's the options. Got 20 seconds to pick your answer. David from The Last of Us, Kefka from Final Fantasy VI, Virgil from Devil May Cry 5, Baldur from God of War 2018. And by the way, I'm reading these for the listener. You guys who are playing, obviously, pick as quick as you want. There you go. There's the answer. Baldur from God of War.
Hell
2 of you got it right.
That's right.
Good. I'm glad I missed it.
There we go.
Tim, can you change my name there to Coochie Crusher, please?
No.
Egret, are you joyful?
All right, here we go.
What
Number
even is that?
Number 2. Unfortunately, killing is one of those things that gets easier the more you do it. Is that Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid, Captain Price from Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Shadow from Final Fantasy VI, or Takayuki Yagami from Lost Judgment? Unfortunately, killing is one of those things that gets easier the more you do it. 4 seconds. 3. There we go.
0 on this.
It was Solid Snake.
I missed that. I couldn't even tell you when he says that, and I played that game.
Nobody got it.
There's a lot of dialogue, Kyle.
Nobody got it.
90% dialogue.
All right, so far we've got Derek in first place. We've got Dan in second.
No, say my name.
Yeah. No.
My name.
Say my name.
All right, we got Alpha AF in first place.
Thank you.
And then we got Blue Rooster Dan in second with G.I. Jada and Kylo tied for Here we go.
What is that from?
This game is BS.
All right, here we go. Number 3. Nothing is more badass than treating a woman with respect.
Oh, is this Journey?
Something Derek
Is
over
that
said.
Duke Nukem from Duke Nukem Forever? Is it Mr. Torg from Borderlands 2? Is it Eddie from Brutal Legend? Or the boss from the Saints Row 4?
I don't know. These are so...
Nothing is more badass than treating a woman with respect.
I don't know,
Derek's never
man.
said.
Where's the who cares option?
Time's up.
Yeah.
It is Mr. Torg from Borderlands 2. Who didn't answer? Come on. Someone just didn't answer.
He's too alpha to answer. He doesn't believe in not.
No, Derek got that one right. So that
How am I
puts
still in last?
Oh,
Derek's in first. G.I.
so then it must have been
jumped up
me.
to
God
second.
damn it.
Because you were so quick.
Yeah.
It was the last second.
There you go.
Missed it.
All right. Number 4. Why men throw their lives away attacking me? I'll never know. Something about my face. Was that Joker from Arkham Asylum, Geralt from The Witcher 3, GLaDOS from Portal, or Handsome Jack from Borderlands 2?
Ooh, I think I got it wrong, but whatever.
And I, of course, changed the wording. There we go. It was
Really?
Geralt from Witcher 3.
I can't believe I got that.
He actually, instead of saying,
You haven't even played that game, Jeff. You're guessing your way through this game.
I am.
instead of the word me, he actually says, why men throw their lives away attacking Witchers? I'll never know. But I had to change that. That'd be too obvious.
Ah, okay.
All right, so we've got still Derek in first place, but now Kyle and Jeff are jump up to second and third. Dan, come on, Blue Rooster. Come on, man.
I'm not a rooster. I don't even know who that is.
I'm a runaway second place right now.
All right, here we go. Why don't you say whatever speech you've got rehearsed and get this over with?
Nice.
Was that Joel from Last of Us Part 2, Barrett from Final Fantasy 7, Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption 2, or Geralt from The Witcher 3?
Oh, I was really confident.
Oh man,
I was so
that
confident.
sounded like an Arthur Morgan.
Yeah,
post.
that's what I chose. I was like,
That was Joel.
I
From the last-
vividly
That was
remember
Last
this
of Us Part 2. I
One of
just
the-
played that part.
one of the
Oh,
craziest
just say
parts in
whatever
any video
speech
game.
you've got rehearsed.
All right, so there we go. Derek's still in first place. Dan has jumped up to second.
This cheating.
I wish
That's
Derek didn't
performance
do it.
enhancing Derek. That's what he is.
He just came back from a game and got on a game. He was in game mode.
Yeah,
It's not fair.
He's in game mode. It's true. Here's number 6. A man chooses, a slave obeys.
Can't say slave. Fire.
Is this
Yeah,
Kratos,
Fire
God of
Strike,
War,
Fire Strike.
Frau Engel from Wolfenstein 2,
Oh, I got this
Andrew
one.
Ryan from BioShock, or Conan from Conan Exiles? A man chooses,
I don't know.
a slave obeys. It is Andrew Ryan from
Yeah.
Of course,
BioShock.
it's Andrew Ryan, the greatest game ever, BioShock.
Dude,
No,
Listen,
game is
this
so...
is actually a super famous quote, video game wise at least. Like, this is something I've seen all over the place.
Hey,
This is pretty
Really?
good.
I thought the big
guess what,
one
guys?
was.
Guess
was
what?
the
We're going to
trigger.
talk about that game in a little bit.
All right. Derek crushing it right now. Dan in second place. And Kyle and Jeff are refusing to actually play.
Nope.
Here we go. Number
Hey, man,
I'm
hey,
in third, so I'm playing a little harder than
kidding.
Jeff at least.
I'm kidding.
If this were movie quotes, y'all would be decimated.
Hey, you got us all wrong, man. We're from Cleveland. Is that Stan from South Park, Stick of
No.
Truth, Sully from Uncharted 3, Trevor from GTA 5, or Forward Cruller from Psychonauts 2? Hey, you got us all wrong, man. We're from Cleveland. Who said that?
I don't
That is
know.
Sully.
Yeah.
Sully from
The
Uncharted.
others don't make any sense because they use fake locations. Or Denver for Stan, and then the other two are like fake locations, right? They're not
There you
real
go.
places.
Yep.
Sure.
All right. Ooh, it looks like, Dan, you've got the little fire icon. You're on fire. Look at that.
Oh, you got a streak.
Yeah. You have a
I
streak
hate
of
this
3 in a row.
game. Stone.
All right, here we go. Number 8. 3 left. It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum.
Oh, come on. Come on, man.
Agonizer 9000 from Borderlands 3, Dante from DMC 5, Sergeant Rex Power Cult. Oh, you guys got it.
Come
It's Duke
on.
Nukem. Duke
Oh, you guys.
Nukem
Oh,
3.
okay, you got it.
Obviously, that's Duke Nukem. Listen, I had to give you some that were super obvious, right?
Yeah.
I was
Appreciate it.
wondering if maybe the Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon might make you pause for a second, but it did not. You guys all got Duke Nukem immediately. All right, so Derek's still in first. Right behind him is Dan, and then you got Jeff and Kyle. Actually, this is not that far of a split. We got a chance with these last two here.
I'm pretty tailing right now.
All right, number 9. No matter how dark the night, morning always comes, and our journey begins anew. Is this Ronnie from Elden Ring, Lulu from Final Fantasy X, Midna from Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, or Solus from Dragon
I
Age
don't know.
Inquisition? No matter how dark the night.
I knew.
Oh my God.
Goddamn.
I got it right. Oh my
Well,
god.
I have to quit, so bye.
Yeah,
Dan,
you
you
do.
got it wrong. Dan
I'm a
got it
bigger
wrong.
Final Fantasy fan than Dan.
I'm not listening to what she's saying. I'm looking at her dress. I mean, come on, get out of belts.
You're a fan of fashion.
better.
I get it.
Personality.
I'm better than
okay,
Dan. I'm better than Dan. Record shows.
All
Better
right.
than Dan.
Okay, sure you are.
So
I don't know about the numbers there, Chad.
dude, we are now with everyone's within 1,000 points of each
I'm
other.
on a streak though.
Here we go.
How are you on a streak? You haven't gotten any right in like
Hey
3
Dan,
questions.
G.I. Jada
I got
does
the Final
not get
Fantasy
questioned. Do not question G.I. Jada. Here we go.
Yeah, I will slap you.
Last one, number 10. Here we go. Stand amongst the ashes of a trillion dead souls and ask the ghost if honor matters. The silence is your answer. Was
That's a
that
great quote? I don't know
Javik
what
from
this
Mass
is.
Effect 3, the Sorrow from Metal Gear Solid 3, the Arbiter from Halo 2, or Death from Castlevania Symphony of the Night? It's a very deep
It's
quote.
probably not the answer I chose.
That was
Oh my god, I
Javik
got it.
from Mass Effect 3.
What?
Did Jeff just
That
cheat
is-
all of us? I'm gonna be so angry. I'm gonna
All
be
right,
so
sounded
angry.
here's
like
the
a
podium.
Javik
Here's the
quote.
podium.
I
We
was
got
like, since I was so
in
attracted
third
to
place
the
is Dan, Blue Rooster 39. In second place, Derek.
Oh my
You gotta
god.
be kidding me. You
First
gotta
If
be
you're
kidding
not
me.
first, relax.
G.I.
I hate
Jada.
this. I hate this so much.
Yeah,
Let's
get out of here with
go.
that.
Oh my god.
I
There
think
we
I
go.
missed the last 4 in a row. I think
Yeah.
I had like 5 out of the first 6, and then I just bottom out.
Let's
I
go,
hate this so
man.
much.
Oh
Oof.
my god.
I hate
What a
this.
game.
Yeah, that
What?
last one sounded like a Javik quote. That's why I did that.
See, I was like, I really like that quote, so it has to be Metal Gear Solid, right? And it
What a
wasn't.
game.
Yeah.
All right, so and at the end, it actually this Kahoot thing gives me the questions that were maybe too difficult because no one got it right or whatever. So kind of cool. I like that.
That's a
I don't know
good structured way of
I
doing it.
approve of this game, but
I like
never
it.
do it again.
I like it. I if I won, I would have liked it more, but I liked it. It was fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that
So-
was
You
really
don't
fun.
approve because Jeff won, right? Is that
This
what it is?
this episode is brought to you by Kahoot.
Yep.
They're not paying us at all, but that's
Who's Jeff?
that's
But
our
if y'all
sponsor.
want to, you can.
Yeah. There it's kind of actually difficult to dig through all the paid tiers of Kahoot, but it is free. If you
Mm.
want to use it, you can do what we just did for free. But they have all kinds of like school and work-based accounts you can create and pay money for, like taking actual surveys and taking courses and tests for school. If you want to just do lighthearted stuff like we just did with Screen Share, it's totally free. You just have to keep closing the. I mean, they hit you a lot with. Don't forget to upgrade. They hit you a
Yeah.
lot with that stuff.
Of course.
So anyway, I thought that was pretty fun. Thank you guys for playing along.
Really fun.
And I
Yeah,
did
I'm
like.
Did you
furious
see
at the
my
outcome.
background, Jeff? Did you see my background? Did you see what it is? You see
Hey,
it, Jeff?
Jeff, did you see Jeff? Did you see it?
Is that from some type of stupid art
This is
museum?
taking way too long, Jeff.
Stupid.
I think
Yeah,
it's.
some kind
Jeff,
of
did
dumb
you see it,
dummy
Jeff?
dumb
Did you
dumb.
see it, Jeff? Did you see the background?
Stupid.
I was gonna
dumb.
say it's from Batman, except it's way too bright to be from Batman.
It
Way
is.
too bright.
Yeah, I can see it. That's how I know.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
that's
see
the
it.
problem.
Yeah.
Something else.
And I don't hear boot steps, so it's definitely not that.
Oh, so I started watching that last night, but not realizing it's 3 hours long, kind of forgetting, and it was like
Yeah.
whatever time it was at night. So I was like, I'm watching half of this now, and then tonight I'll watch the other half. Yeah, the boot steps is like menacing, dude. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yes,
It's amazing.
Yeah,
I just
it-
want to say, after watching that movie a second time, I think it's one of the best Batman movies. Like, it's up there with Dark Knight, and Dark Knight.
Yes, you are saying things that are
very-
proper. So
Well, hey,
Very
let's talk about
high.
that actually. So let's talk about
Yeah.
stuff we're watching, but let's start
Yeah.
with the Batman. I saw it for the first time since I don't go to theaters very often anymore, and I really enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was so good, and I thought the performances were great. I think I've seen criticisms of Robert Pattinson's performance, but I don't know why. Like, what else was he asked to do? So
Well, I wonder if it's the Bruce parts, even though there's not
Yeah.
a lot. I feel like they're definitely weaker.
That was definitely deliberate though. Like, part of the story was him
Sure.
not caring about being Bruce anymore.
I think
it's
if he
because-
were Bruce for a lot of the movie, I'd be like, man, I don't really like this take on Bruce.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he's only
They
Bruce
did the
for like
right- they
5,
did the right
10
thing.
minutes. Like,
Yeah.
he's barely.
He'll
Bruce in the
eventually
movie.
be the typical Robert Pattinson that we know and kind of a lot of people don't like, with the slick back hair and like he's a playboy and
Well,
stuff.
he just seems very like reserved, right? He's just kind of
Yeah.
quiet and reserved. And then as Batman, he's like his eyes and just the suit and like him stomping around and just beating the shit out of dudes. It's like, whoa, like, is this the
Yeah.
same actor? Like, what's going on? Like,
I
so-
only have one, and it is a minor gripe, and that is, and I don't expect anybody to agree with me. Wasn't a
wait.
big fan of the action scenes.
Hmm.
Huh.
yeah, I definitely
know.
disagree. Yeah, one of the best car chase sequences ever in any movie ever.
Well,
you know.
I
well,
thought
do
that
you mean the
that
fights?
was
The
fine.
actual fights,
Yeah,
right?
I'm talking about the fight scenes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just
Oh, okay.
didn't like.
I mean,
They
I
were
suppose.
very, very dark, and also there just wasn't, for me, any like stick out like, holy shit, he just did that, like that type of thing. But overall, they were fine. It's not like
Yeah.
they weren't good.
I think they made the action more
Visceral.
visual instead of showy, if that makes sense. Like where
Hmm.
like the example where he goes, it's in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler for anybody that hasn't seen it yet. When he goes back to the club and the lights are out, and it's more about seeing him.
guns.
Yeah, it's more about seeing the machine guns and the fire. And I'm like, oh, this is like more of a visual.
Yeah,
fight.
it's an artistic lights on, lights off. I don't know.
You know what?
You don't get to see him kick butt. You just
it's
get
like
to,
a comic book frame by frame where you get to see boom, like you're seeing like these snapshots of him beating guys up that are shooting at him. I do think that Derek, I don't disagree with you, except for that final scene where he's taking out, and we won't spoil anything specific, but there's a fight scene where he's taking out kind of these thugs at the top.
I got the second half.
That's in the trailer, by the way, Tim. So you're not spoiling
when he's up on the rafters fighting all those guys. I thought there were a number of different moments that were like, "Whoa, that was cool!" I rewound it and watched it again.
The way that he disarms people, which is in the trailer, I'm not, he disarms people and uses their weapons against them, and it's very
he does like this almost sideways like spinning corkscrew flip thing to knock a couple guys over. Like I thought that was really cool, but you're right, for a 3-hour movie there aren't a lot of like in Nolan movies there are a lot of one-on-one moments, and there's just not.
I think it's a tone thing. I think the goal
you're right.
Not the guy that made
Derek.
the movie, but I think the tone was, let's keep this darker, obviously, but also let's focus more on the detective. So if we get too lost in over the top action, then you kind of lose, I think, the tone of the film.
How long has he been? So it's what, about that?
2 years.
They say 2 years. So like, if you think about it from that perspective, it's like he's still kind of getting in the groove of being Batman. Like this. So people love the Nolan trilogy because it's like kind of more of a realistic take, right? Like it's not totally realistic, but
compared to what Burton and Schumacher did, yes.
Right. But I'm saying this a slight more realism to it, and I think this one goes even further. So, I'm wondering if if that's turning people off, that it's almost too realistic. Like it's not quite
because he has a contact lens that records people. So
well, sure,
you know.
Hey, that's in Black Mirror.
Really
we're not far. Hey, we're not far off.
That's in Black Mirror, right? So it's real.
But like, if you look at like his Batmobile is literally just like a freaking muscle car. It's just a muscle car, right? But it's super cool.
Nolan's Batman, which is applauded for being realistic. He's driving a tank. There's magical flowers that give people like psychedelic powers. Like, it's not as realistic as everybody likes.
Sure, right. But
I think, Dan, your point was it was
definitely a major step. Yeah.
You're saying it was a step, right? So the 90s Batman, 80s and 90s Batmans that we knew became more gritty and realistic in the Nolan movies, and now it's going another step even further.
Right.
It is.
I think we've been inching to more realistic with every iteration except for Snyder. And that's all I'll say. So, I don't have anything else to say on that matter.
Please elaborate.
No, I don't need to. No,
I think this is a very good movie, and I'm gonna put it on again. I've got HBO Max, so why not? I really enjoyed it.
I'm gonna watch it again for the third time.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I think it's one of the best shot movies of the.
If you like
year.
Batman, for sure, then you'll like this movie. If you already like the Batman character, you'll like it.
Riddler, unbelievably disturbing. Just the way that he delivers the lines, like he's just kind of talking normal.
Dude.
And then when someone tries to cut him off,
back half, you're gonna get your socks blown off if you like what you saw.
When he gets his mask off, you're like, can you put the mask back on? This dude is not.
I'm actually more
but it's like,
unnerved with you.
Like the way he talks, right? Like somebody goes to like say something, and like he like his voice starts like escalating, and he's like screaming, and then
are you in the church, Dan? Have you gotten to the church part?
Yeah. And so I basically,
so that's the part where he's like yelling, "You are not allowed to talk," and I'm like, whoa.
And then he goes back down, and then he gets a little goofy a little bit. Like it's like he's just so all over. It's like, is this the Joker, but the Riddler? Like it's a really interesting kind of like mixture of things. Like,
and I hope this is one of those performances that go down. I'm not saying like it's the Heath Ledger levels of. To me, it is, but I'm not saying everyone needs to feel that way. But like, I think like in 5 years, we're all gonna look back and go, "Boy, he put in a hell of a villain performance in that movie."
It's just this movie is like dirty and visceral. Like he just has this little like hammer thing, and he's just like clubbing people in the back of the head. It's gross.
But he's not like a super villain, so it's like he kind of flubs that. And this is the very first scene. He kind of flubs that killing too.
Yeah.
How the murder weapon flies out of his hand.
Right.
Like, he's not some efficient killer.
No.
I love
this. He's a serial killer.
Gritty and
real. Dork. He's a freaking nerd dork. Yeah, he's
a super nerd dork.
Well, he's got
extreme from the girl next door.
Extreme trauma. He's got extreme trauma from his childhood, and that plays itself out as a sociopath who turns into a psychopath. That's just how and it's very clear, and that's where it gives that realistic, like, oh my word, this feels very real to life. Where you've got someone who was treated this way as a young kid. It developed. He's developed zero empathy, and that's a sociopath part, and then it turned into. Not just empathy, now it became this revenge thing where you take joy in seeing others suffer because they deserve it, and that's the psychopath part.
And there's that entire what came first, chicken or the egg thing with Batman. It's like, are these villains existing because of him, or were they already there to begin with? And
Right.
this is an example of a good conversation the movie has about, the Riddler felt empowered by Batman.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
Sure.
like they have a whole conversation about it. Like you were the one that knows. Like knows my plan.
Don't you feel more powerful in the mask?
Yeah.
So I think the parallels between those two was remarkable because both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many moments in this movie where it's like Batman and Riddler are so remarkably similar. It's just that one went crazy and one went kind of
one had a bad day and one didn't,
I guess. Yeah. And so and you could make an argument for all different reasons why. Like one of them had wealth and the other one didn't, and that's why they turned out the way they. Who knows?
Right.
But it's a very interesting parallel of they experienced loss, the idea of being an orphan, promises not being fulfilled, being betrayed, all those things they both experienced. It's just they ended up on very different sides. And it's interesting, his conversation, and I won't spoil it for you, Dan, but there's a conversation they have towards the end of the movie.
So good.
Where you see that Riddler has been noticing this the whole time, and he is shocked and offended and really hurt that Bruce doesn't see that they're the same.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's really
just assumes
fascinating.
He's on the same page as him, and it's like, well, no.
But the thing is they kind of are for most of the movie.
They are.
Like you catch Batman. This is not a spoiler. Every once in a while, he'll be like, well, he did break the law, so he kind of has he had a coming attitude.
Yeah. There's like a respectful tone that Batman has when he talks about him, almost. Like,
yeah.
He's like eager to solve the riddles because like.
Well, the riddle solving.
He'll get to the corrupt people of Gotham.
That was another thing where he almost thinks the same way. Everything from the riddles to what's going to happen next. He knows to expect an attack. Like they're clearly drawing, and I love it. They're clearly drawing parallels between Batman and this villain. I love it. I thought it was great. Yeah. And it's even more if you go finish the movie and go watch the deleted scene with Barry, however you say his name, Keoghan's portrayal of Joker. If you watch that scene, and you can see they were even going to draw more parallels because the final thing that Joker says to him in that deleted scene is like, you thought they deserved it too, don't you? You don't see how much you're alike. Like he calls him out on it, like you guys are identical, and that gets him cackling, laughing as he leaves. Yeah. Which, by the way, brilliant move to cut that scene.
Yeah.
Because it would have really taken away from what the movie already delivers with the Riddler. That being said, I am interested to see what they do with him because that guy's such a good actor.
He's such a good actor.
I mean, again,
I've said before, I'm kind of tired of all the Jokers, and that's fine. Right. But that doesn't mean I don't want to see. I do want to see what they do with this one.
I'm only halfway through this movie, and just like understanding the vibes of this movie, I think this Joker will be unique enough where it kind of adds a new page to sort of like, oh, there's this angle. Okay, you're doing kind of.
Agree.
Yeah.
So I think what can make these movies great, and I think they nailed it with Heath Ledger and they nailed it with whoever's playing the Riddler, is, for me, yes, the performances are great. They both did a great job, but it's the way they play everybody, the way they play Batman, the way they have everything already planned out. Now, do they ultimately screw up? Sure. But the way they play everything out and they have it, and that's what I loved about The Dark Knight, and that's what I love about this game. It's the mystery plus the twist of like, why are they doing this? And how the hell did he know this was going to happen this? And then you see how they reveal how he's planned everything out, even up into these characters. Like, for instance, since I don't want to spoil the other one, the Joker getting captured. Why do he let himself get captured? And then you figure out why he allowed it. All this stuff worked out. So that's what I like about that. I think if they're going to succeed with bringing a new Joker in, you've already nailed. I think the actor can do it. I believe he can play the character. Thank God it's not Jared Leto, you piece of shit.
Oh, yeah, go back to your sex island, Morbius.
You don't want Morbius in that?
So bad. I'm so sick of your excuses. You suck. Go away.
And Derek, you're not wrong though. As a person, we've talked about this before. Also, not a great person, but continue.
Yeah.
And so my thing is if they can keep the tone of what they've done with the Riddler, and then you got to now up it because the Joker is the big one.
Right.
You know, you're not messing with like a small villain here. That's why even though Tim's like, I'm kind of sick of seeing the Joker over, I totally get that. But the Joker's just as big as Batman. He has to be there.
Listen,
It's,
I talked a big game, but as soon as I saw him in the deleted scene, I was like, and even in there's a small scene in this. As soon as I saw him and heard him, I was like, ooh, like I'm very.
Oh,
Just
the way he looks. Like,
there's just something about it when they nail it. They, you know.
I know.
What was is this movie PG-13 or R?
PG-13.
Yeah, so with this Joker, they need to go R. Just go R, dude.
If you watch the deleted scene, they came close because I mean,
that's what they need to do.
His face alone is like, okay, all right.
They still kept it behind that like distorted glass, so you couldn't even.
Dude, I'm telling you, they won't, and they'll be fine as long as it's very strange to me, but as long as you don't show boob and you don't say the F word more than twice, you're fine.
Sure.
Like that's just all it is. And you can almost go as violent as you want. Almost as violent as you want.
Well, the key is to show the violence up until a point and then cut it off. Like one of the cool scenes with the Joker in The Dark Knight is when he grabs the head and slams the guy's head down.
Yeah.
You don't see it, but you know exactly what happens.
But if they would have shown the guy, if they would have shown the guy, wouldn't you have kind of laughed a little bit, like
with the pencil hanging out?
Yeah. But you didn't see it, so it made it
I would have, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it's Jaws theory, Tim. That's what you're saying. You know, just like don't show it.
Why,
you know, just
don't
like
get me wrong.
have some music, kind of show enough, but don't show all of it. You know, and like your imagination runs wild.
No problem with rated R movies. I prefer them actually now that I'm older because you have more freedom. Blah blah blah. But you can totally pull off if The Dark Knight is still relevant today as it was back then. You can totally pull off a dark Joker type movie and be PG-13.
I want no holds bar.
I don't know. I don't need it to be grotesque. I just want it to. It can still be scary and terrifying. I don't need it to be.
No, because I think if they go rated R, they'll just be like Joker, drop F-bombs every 5 seconds, and that's not.
Well, and not so much the language. I want it to
be
Batman.
Like, dude, that's mainly I'm telling you, man. There are so many PG-13 movies where you can have it be completely disturbing and totally mess with you.
You guys are just too soft. You guys are with your PG-13 soft.
I was just gonna say you're being very beta right now.
I don't care. Just
you really are.
Go away. Go be with Jared Leto. Go away.
It's kind of like saying that Uncharted can't be good because it's not rated M. Like, come on.
Sure.
All right.
Well, I will say for all of the problems that we have with the old Batman movies, not the Burton ones, unless you don't like those movies, none of them are over 2 hours. I got to give them props for that. None of them. They all were almost exactly 2 hours.
But all the Nolan ones were over, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And then, of course,
even Begins was like 2:20,
right?
Yeah.
This one felt like binging a season of a TV show.
It did.
It did feel like a mini series. Yeah.
I gotta be honest. I watched it twice and I never felt the 3 hours. That's how engrossed I was in the film.
Dude, that says a lot because it's a slow movie. Like it's got a lot of scenes where it will start with someone moving slowly from here to here.
I cared about the plot that I wasn't like.
I feel like I was as engaged as Derek, but by the time that especially this last time I was watching it, I was like, oh, my whole evening's gone. So it's like you really feel it after the movie's done. You know, you're like, oh,
it's nighttime.
That was my only plan tonight. Great. Okay.
I just picked the bad time to start watching it.
My second viewing is more important a lot of times than the first viewing, and
to
walk away feeling more hyped and enjoying it more does a lot because the mystery's already been revealed. I know why he's doing everything, so I like to watch it back the second time to catch everything that he's doing and how he set it up and listen to his loud breathing more intimately. I enjoyed those parts.
I like when he does the tape.
Yeah.
So I started watching it. My wife and I were watching an episode of Survivor. And then we finished, but she stayed on the couch just on her phone. She knew I was going to watch the Batman after. So I started up the Batman. And that opening scene is the Riddler watching and breathing. And it's like, it's got to be at least a 2-minute scene where you just hear.
And he's standing in the darkness, so you just see the reflection off his glasses.
He's watching the family. He's watching things unfold. So anyway, there's lots of breathing. And I think it was after about a minute. She was trying just to focus on whatever she was playing or writing on her phone. And she kind of just looked up. And then looked over at me like, what are you watching? You know what I mean? It was just like
smut porn.
And I was like, you want to watch this with me? She's like,
torture porn.
Never.
Never.
Okay, fine.
I mean, she just made you watch Survivor.
I'll be honest. I don't.
She kind of owes you.
I like Survivor. All right.
I know you do, Tim.
That was. Is that beta?
It's Survivor beta. Survivor is
if you have to ask. If you have to ask,
then it is.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Of course, the Batman being one of the big movies this week because it's now on streaming. We know it's been out for a little while, but we wanted to touch on that again. But there's a major movie that just came out this weekend that I want to hear about because the cast looks amazing. I love Vikings. I want to hear about the Northman. I think only Jeff has seen it. Right?
Oh, I just got out of it 10
Kyle,
minutes before we started this podcast. Yeah.
Okay, Kyle saw it. All right, so I want to hear about the Northman. I love the cast. I love Vikings. Is this movie as good as it looks like it as it is from the trailer?
Jeff, you go first. Let me get my thoughts.
Please. Okay.
Yeah. I just got out of it. I'm still in like a post like dopamine drop, like where I walk into that theater. I want to like scream at someone like an animal and punch them in the face. Like,
well, I mean, it looks like that kind of movie.
Yeah, it does.
It is. When you walk out of 300 when you were like 18, 19, 20,
yes.
Like you were like, I just gotta kick someone in the pit and get abs. Like I walked out in a similar fashion, but it's a way more mature movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, very much.
This is a celebration of like how hardcore dudes are. But yeah, please, Jeff, please take.
Yeah, this is definitely
it's a Derek movie.
It's very alpha.
It's one of the most alpha movies I've ever seen in my life. I'll be honest with you.
Huh.
It's Derek will hate it, I guess, because he's a fake alpha.
So Willem Dafoe's in this movie, everybody.
He is.
Our Lord and Savior, Willem Dafoe.
He's a fool, as the Vikings call him. He's a jester in the movie. He's only in the first act though, so don't get your hopes up. But it is a good appearance. He's a good character. So I don't know if you guys have seen the trailers of this movie, but it is a revenge tale, and it is basically Hamlet, because the name of the character is Amleth, and it's literally just Hamlet. You just rearrange the letters, and that's what Shakespeare based Hamlet on, was this old folklore story of a Viking person who has his own wicked. Yeah,
Shakespeare based that story off of Viking
off
lore?
of this story.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is you can look it up on Wikipedia. You can look up Amleth, and it's like, oh, this is like an old Germanic folklore tale from like the Scandinavia or whatever.
How about that?
Yeah.
Shakespeare was just a crook, just stealing ideas.
So it's pretty much that, when he's a child, and you can see it in the trailer. You can see in the trailer that his uncle betrays his dad. And
it is literally the story of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, except like the person who killed the dad is like related. Is the uncle.
They're related.
Yeah,
exactly.
But it's like even like there's like wolf imagery. There's like all this stuff. It literally, not to interrupt. Sorry, Jeff. I went straight home and downloaded Assassin's Creed Valhalla again, which I didn't beat. I was like, I gotta get my fix in now.
Yeah.
It will definitely inspire you to do that, especially after seeing the action scenes in this one, because it flashes forward it just says years later. That's all. I was like, bold move. You don't have to tell us the exact amount. Thank you. Yeah. That would explain the age of the older characters.
27.2 years later.
Exactly. Or I guess back then they would have just said, I don't know what they would have measured years by. But anyway, so it flashes forward, and now he's Alexander Skarsgård, and he's not really thinking of revenge. He's actually acting as it's a mercenary back then. It's like they call them berserkers back then, because they were basically like they were men that were just fought
they
so
get really high on drugs and get into like a really primitive state, and then just go out and just kill mercilessly, which is like lore.
They would kill like they were
hence berserk, right? Basically. Going berserk.
Yeah, literally, like they drink like berserker mead, and like they go out and like go, they just murder people.
Yeah, and that's the folklore, is like that they would kill like they were possessed by somebody or something.
Got it.
Yeah.
So there are actually some fantasy elements to it, but it's all tied back to Viking like lore and stuff, and
big time. Yeah, like it. Not fantasy like Green Knight. I don't know if y'all saw that from last year, like where things get so crazy, like it's out of this world, but like close to that, because you like a thing like ravens are always indicative of like Odin being present. Like just kind of bring all your Viking knowledge into this, because it's all. I was telling Jeff, I'm like, it's a greatest hits of Viking culture. Like, we're going to show you this ceremony. We're going to show you how they battle. We're going to show you the berserkers. We're going to show you that they do drugs. We're going to show you that they drink meat. Like, they hit all, like, the main cultural things that we all like Vikings about, but they show this in this really artistic, beautifully shot, like, way.
Yeah.
Like, this movie is so engaging, like, visually, to the point where you're actually seeing, like, with Valkyries and like kind of the trip, you know, like you're seeing that stuff.
And this is while they're like tripping, so to speak, on the mead, right?
I mean,
no.
that
thing is a little later,
but like you know, it's kind of like in death phases or whatever. Like some characters, like they would witness that, or in dreamscape, which you see in Valhalla the game as well. Like you'll go into like dreamscape.
There's some cool things that happen in the movie too that you're not sure are really happening. So the movie does a really good job of like making it seem like it's fantasy, but then something happens with ravens that you're like, wait, that actually did happen. Did it happen? Like, you know, kind of, because there are certain scenes where like he converses with somebody played by Bjork, who tells him his future, and you're like, then she disappears, and you're like, did that happen? You know, And then later on, he acquires a sword, which is like one of my favorite scenes in the movie, where he acquires this old sword, and he imagines like a battle scene for the sword. And when he gets the sword, you're like, so did that not happen? What happened? Like, did that not happen? It really plays with your brain.
But they're not there to really tell you what happened, what didn't. They're just telling you the story that he experienced.
Basically. It just keeps moving.
It's like in his head, how he experienced it. Yeah.
The movie never stops to explain anything. Like you.
And does it jump back to modern day when you see the modern guy who's in the Assassin's Creed style, the animus?
So he wakes up, absolutely, and some pretty blonde tech is there, and she's like, "What'd you see there?" Yeah, like, Kristen Bell, exactly.
And she's like, "Can I talk to you about NFTs?"
We have a quartz program.
We're like, no.
Yeah, the way the action is shot, though, like the action is like, I have to commend the director, who I already loved, because I don't know if you guys saw The Witch, which was spelled like Vivitch, or if you saw The Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. Same director. So he likes being weird sometimes. And he does do some of that in the ritual stuff. Yeah. But for the most part, it's like a straightforward, like Braveheart type of old movie, you know, like set in the old whatever days of yore. And the action, though, he has a way of like shooting it where he tries to keep it looking like one shot, like when exactly like God of War, when Alexander Skarsgård is like rushing into this, like it's a scene in the trailer where somebody from way far in the distance, from like the top of a gate, throws a spear at him, and he catches it in midair and throws it right back at him.
It's so good.
That's
so like sick. That entire scene where he's like walking into the village to like start slaughtering their soldiers and stuff.
One shot.
Pretty much one take.
Guys, that's we call that move, that spear catch throw. That's alpha. That's what that is.
That is alpha. It is, dude. It's one of the most alpha movies ever.
So part of being a berserker and just being a Viking warrior, there's a lot of like these actors are tapping into this really primal animalistic like tendencies, like growling and screaming and foaming at the mouth at each other, and it's like, you have to put in 110% to like do something like this. The fact that they got so many people, especially Alexander Skarsgård, who used to play a handsome vampire. You guys, that's what most people know him for. This guy,
by the way, his name, he was a Viking in True Blood.
This is the year of handsome vampire boys becoming men. Batman, sure. So it's super interesting to see the range of Alexander Skarsgård, who could put in such a visual, physical performance like that.
Yeah, like I was telling Kyle, there's a major moment in the third act like that happens like right before the ending, where he's going through so much and he's just wearing it in his face and he's keeping it repressed, because that's what back then that was like.
Sure.
You know, dudes didn't really express emotions.
Well, they didn't have therapy back then, so.
Yeah, exactly. But he's just wearing so much of it on his face, and he's doing such a good job of it. And then, that scene's amazing. And then it goes right to one of the best finales in a movie you'll ever see.
That is one of the most cinematic, like, resolution, whatever, final comeuppance or whatever that I've seen in a long time in a movie. Like, it was so awesome and so epic.
The ending shot was like, I out loud, I saw it by myself, by the way, but it was still a full theater. I went, oh! There's like a final shot that happens, like right before the credits, and I was like, oh! Like it was so surprising, but I should have seen it coming, because the movie's telling you the whole time how the movie's going to end. So I should have seen it coming.
A lot of prophecies, a lot of just come in, like it's the most Viking movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah,
and I go out of my way to watch Viking content. So
yeah.
Except for the Last Kingdom, you jerks.
I don't know what that is. What is that?
But Tim, did you watch the Viking show? Because Kyle watched that religiously.
So that's one that I've had on my queue for a long time, and I just need to dive into it. Because I'm not like an automatic. I'll watch anything Viking, although I do like Viking lore and stuff. So that's one that I've always been kind of interested in, but I haven't gotten into it yet. No.
I think it's worth it. I mean, I didn't finish it, but I think
they offer
it's worth it if you're into it.
Like Last Kingdom sounds a little more political, and this is a little more a character piece.
Last Kingdom is a little more like Vikings with some Game of Thrones elements in it. A little
jumpsuit. I'm gonna watch it for that alone. I'm gonna watch the next season.
And you can tell when a show starts to get a bigger budget, because the first season has some really cool battles, but they're not quite at this amazing scale. Season 2, it's like, whoa, they upped the ante in season. It just
that's interesting.
Okay.
That's kind of how Viking. That's how Vikings is too.
You kind of see you kind of see the budget grow as you watch the show from season to season. You're like, oh,
so the first season of Vikings, there was like 12 dudes in a wood fighting 8 dudes in a woods, and you're like, this is all of the Vikings fighting all of the English. And then season 6, there's like 1,000.
It's a huge budget. Yes.
Season 1 has a really cool final battle scene, but they still managed to make it feel small, and they do that on purpose because there's some specific things that happen, but they managed to make it feel like a smaller encounter. And by season 2, 3, 4, you've got like the entire cities being under siege, and it's much more epic in scale. So
I don't know if you're familiar with the story of Ragnar, he's like pretty much a fairy tale at this point, from Viking lore, of like this dude that was one of the best conquerors or whatever, and he died this death in a pit of snakes. And you can look it up on Wikipedia or whatever, but apparently people that were legitimately alive that were Vikings were all like, at least 6 or 7 of them were like, yeah, that's my dad. So
so people across time were like, I am the son of Ragnar Lothbrok.
Well, dude,
even me saying I'm the son of like Prince Caspian or something like that.
The name Ragnar was it was a very popular name for generations. The Ragnar was typically a strong like leader name, because even in Last Kingdom, the main guy who raises him is named Ragnar, and then his son, who's kind of his adopted brother, is Ragnar Ragnarsson. You know what I mean? Like that's a name.
Ragnar Ragnarsson.
He's son of Ragnar.
Name,
Jeff Jefferson.
So the Northman, because you guys know I've seen like 60 or something plus movies that were released from this year. The Northman is number 2 behind Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's how I feel about it.
Okay, and
that's
love
how strongly I feel about the movie.
That's better than Batman in your opinion.
Batman is like number 3 behind those 2 for me. But
the
Northman was like immediately 5 stars. Like it's out of 5. Like it's just, I loved it so much.
I feel like I was waiting for a movie like this all of last year.
Dan, here's your rated R. You were looking for rated R. I think this one
finally got one. This movie is so rated R. There's a character in this movie that doesn't have a nose, and it is visceral.
Yes. It's like in the first 15 minutes of the movie, he loses his nose, and then he shows up and
then you see him a lot.
And they call him Big Man.
And we're not talking about Voldemort here.
Oh man, no, it is not a pretty scar. It is very, very. This movie is bloody. The amount of intestines I saw falling out of stomachs tonight.
So much.
World,
See, this is what we do in the next Batman movie.
There's some good women ass.
Get out of here.
That's pleasant. There were some pleasant women ass. If you're in it for nudity, enjoy that.
Okay.
All right, so the Northman gets a strong recommendation from us. Of course, the Batman you heard also gets a strong recommendation. What about the latest Nick Cage flick, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent?
Yeah.
Does that get a strong recommendation?
Not as strong. I'd say this one's worth waiting for either streaming or on demand, whatever. Okay. It's even worth renting when it comes out to on demand, because it is entertaining. And I think what I was most surprised by is Pedro Pascal's comedic timing and his bro, whatever you want to call it, bro chemistry, I guess, with Nick Cage.
This is Nick Cage playing himself, right?
Yes,
folks, the premise of the movie is him playing himself. Yes.
Yeah, he's playing himself, and he is kind of like just in debt in general, because he just does either he's just too quirky to get cast in movies now. He's not the Nick Cage he was, and he keeps just spending way too much money. So the premise is you agreed to go to this guy's birthday parties for $1 million. For $1 million, go to this guy's birthday party, and then he says, "Fine, but I'll stop acting after that." And that's kind of my Keanu too, a little bit.
It works for both.
Whoa, it works for both. But he also does play a younger version of himself. Like sometimes, what's the name of the movie? Wild at Heart, I think, or no, that might be thinking of something else. I don't know, but he plays a younger version of himself as well. That's de-aged, and he's talking to him. It's like him talking to his younger self in his head, because but that version of him is like the most Nick Cage ever, like in any movie. Yeah, come on, dude. Yeah, like he's just shouting at himself.
See, that's why I just can't.
In touch with what he is as an actor now in this movie. And he's just delivering it tenfold. So if you like the Nick Cageisms, this one has so much of that. Is
it fair to say that if you enjoyed JCVD, the Jean-Claude Van Damme, that you might enjoy this, like that self-awareness?
Yes, that one's a little good.
That's a good comparison. Yeah.
That's a different one in tone. This one's clearly going for like a Tropic Thunder type comedy.
Okay.
JCVD feels like a more human kind of like. There's some comedy elements, but it feels like a drama kind of. Where he's kind of
there's a lot of really self-realization and reflection in CVD, but
that's a good ass movie though. It is. Shout out to that movie. Go watch that movie, everybody.
Yeah.
But this one's more like Tropic Thunder, and that's the only reason that I'm kind of like, you don't have to see it in a theater because the plot is very similar to those movies where actors get in over their heads with a situation, and whether or not they're playing themselves. You've seen movies where actors are acting. Playing actors in a movie and they get in a real situation like Three Amigos or something like that, not Disaster Artist. That's not a good example. But anyway, they get in a real situation with like drug lords and stuff, and you're like, oh my gosh, it kind of ends up being the same thing, the same plot that you're familiar with. But it is a fun version of that. So I mean, it's a good popcorn flick, I think.
Okay.
And it's original. So I mean, you got 2 original movies this weekend, 2 like The Northman and Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And everybody can stop complaining now about sequels and comic book movies.
There's original
go
stuff.
see it, or you don't get to complain anymore.
Exactly.
Agreed. Okay, go see one of those, right? Go see one of those.
Either or both. I don't care.
Yeah. Exactly.
So if you guys had to guess, Dan, we'll start with you. How old do you think Nick Cage is right now, without looking it up? Dan,
52.
Kyle,
58.
Jeff.
I think he said it in the movie, but now I'm blanking.
Derek, how old do you think Nick Cage is right now?
56.
I was gonna say 58 is what I was gonna go with.
Yeah, he is 58. You guys probably looked it up.
Wow.
I did.
Wow.
I'm kidding. Wow. Owen Wilson is in this too.
It's a shame though. That would have been good.
Oh, by the way, his wife is played by Sharon Horgan. She was in Game Night and played the older date of like the young dumb guy. She's like British or Scottish or whatever. She's so funny in this. Like she just cast her in like everything where you need her to just be like fed up with everybody's BS because it's perfect.
If you guys had to, and just off the top of your head, because I know that Dan, you're not a huge fan of Nick Cage because he has a very unique talking and acting style. He does.
I just hate his face. I kind of want to smash it. I just want to smash his face.
That's why Face Off is perfect for you.
I would never think of him as like. He would never be on a list of give me your favorite actors. He wouldn't be on the list for me, but I've enjoyed most roles that I've seen him play. I've enjoyed him. So like I look all the way back to stuff like The Rock and Con Air, like some really and Face Off. Some of the
this movie
Raising Arizona, even further back, very good Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah, some of the cheesiest 90s like late 90s action flicks was where I really got I started to see Nick Cage.
By the way,
this awesome.
movie,
I don't care. I don't care who hears it. It's the
God damn it, Kyle. God damn it, Kyle.
So amazing.
Face Off is amazing.
Their body types are so different.
It doesn't matter. Like you have to check all the way out on the logic of this movie. But boy, if you just surrender to it, it is such a good time. It is so John good. Yeah.
It's totally.
There are so many doves in that movie flying around for no reason. It's John Woo.
Lots of slow motion walking with doves. Yeah.
So Unbearable Weight opens with the clip from Con Air of him going, I'm sorry I didn't get a haircut or whatever, of him talking to his reunited wife and I was like, oh, this is one of those movies where we're going to show clips from other movies.
You can like Con Air, even the concept of Con Air is preposterous and so stupid, but I love that movie.
I love it so much.
Everybody's in it. John Malkovich shows that movie, and like he does in every movie, puts in 120% in that role. Like
he's there for that role, and so is Steve Buscemi.
Oh, he's so great in that movie.
Dave Chappelle
is great.
Machete is in it.
Yeah. So, dude,
listen, the only acceptable Nick Cage movie is Kick-Ass, and he's not in it that much.
He's great in that movie.
I love that movie though.
I actually don't mind him at all in that movie, but that's
when I thought Aaron.
You would love Mandy. I promise you, Dan, you would love Mandy.
Which one is that one? That sounds familiar.
Mandy is like if a prog metal album from the 80s came to life into a movie. Like album cover.
I've heard that Pig is really good from last year.
Pig is really good.
Oh yeah, I heard. Yeah. Where's the one where like he's like was it him and his wife go insane? They're trying to murder their children. Does that?
Oh, I've seen that.
Sounds familiar, but I'm never gonna watch that.
It's bad. Okay. It's awful.
It's bad. Yeah. It actually looks kind of interesting, but
like Pig is a movie that Dan would like because it's Nick Cage doing subdued acting and he's taking it seriously. And
and Mandy, Nick Cage is out pretty hard in the middle.
Yeah,
of it,
he does.
So.
Don't forget about
like wow.
I know Derek mentioned Jared Leto earlier. Don't forget about Lord of War with him and Jared Leto. It's actually a good movie.
I did forget.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I like that movie. Yeah.
That actually is a pretty good one. All right. Well, we need to talk about stuff we're playing and then wrap this up with our backlog Hall of Shame. Is there anything that we have to talk about else that you're watching or something that you want to call out that you're playing so we can
I finished Chrono Cross.
Okay.
Great game. Fantastic. It definitely does that whole typical JRPG thing of like, and here's a bunch of stuff that you need to know about the story in the last like 10 hours. It's like, all right, whoa, that's a lot. But I mean, if you pay attention and then again, the whole thing with Chrono Cross is actually playing multiple times because then you're getting different alternate endings because the game's about time and kind of parallel timelines and things like that. You're kind of getting all these different like extra stories with the new game plus. So it's great. It's a great RPG. I'm very glad that they remastered it. I hope they make a sequel because apparently, and I didn't actually see it because I didn't play the Radical Dreamers, but there's almost like sort of like an extra bonus ending thing, but it's not like actual visuals. It's just more like you're reading dialogue. But it's kind of like new extra stuff that didn't exist before. So people are wondering if it's almost kind of like a hint towards something in the future. I really hope they. Right? I would hope so, yeah. Because you can honestly, I don't know why they've only made 2 of these games. You could just keep making more. It'd just be like, oh, a new timeline formed because of this thing, and so on and so forth. So,
I know.
But great game, fantastic. Actually, Derek, have you started playing at all, or?
The Chrono Cross?
Yes.
Yeah, I played a little bit.
Okay.
You were right.
Yes, I know, Derek.
We wasted a code.
We wasted.
I know you well enough, Derek. So you should have.
You bullied him into that code.
I definitely did.
I just knew that he was going to be like, oh, the frame rate is terrible, and I have to read everything.
Well, I mean, I used to like JRPG, so I was like, oh, I've heard good things about this one, Chrono Trigger and all that, and I was like, no. I played like 10 minutes, and I was like, where do they want me to go? Never
exactly.
mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just knew it.
That's what I'm worried about, to be honest.
For future reference, if I'm like, I know what, but pretty sure I know you're not going to like this, then just please believe me, because I know.
If you like Chrono Cross, and especially if you liked Chrono Trigger, make sure you check out Cosmic Star Heroine. I know it's a smaller scale game by an indie developer, but it is clearly made by people who love Chrono Cross. Yeah. Everything from the overworld map to the combat system, even parts of the story. I didn't finish it, but the parts of the story that I got through, very reminiscent.
One a few times.
Very reminiscent of Chrono Cross.
Game that's not out yet, Sea of Stars. If you've never heard of it, please look it up. It looks unbelievably amazing.
It looks great. Looks fantastic.
Games for Jeff to avoid.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
I got another one for Jeff to avoid that I just got because it was on sale on the Switch for $9, and I had like 400 something gold coins, and so that's like a penny per coin basically. So that made the game like $4 and something. And that was God Eater 3, which actually has.
I've seen screenshots of this and noped out.
How is that?
It's
very anime.
It's one of those games that I saw. I've always seen. I'm like, I wonder if this game is any good. I never even heard of the series really. I just heard of God Eater 3. Go ahead,
Derek. 3 of them. Good lord.
I was gonna say this very anime.
A lot of people like him on Steam.
Yes.
So
this game,
I saw that it was on sale.
The Switch reviews are actually pretty remarkably good, saying it runs great and it looks just as good as the other ones. Of course, can't go into 4K. I get it. I'm just saying if you're going to play it portable mode, it looks great, runs great, as opposed to some other ports that have come to that system. And so that's where I grabbed it, and I played not too much, a little bit, a couple of missions. It's structured like think like Astral Chain or Daemon Ex Machina. Like the idea is you kind of have a hub area, and then you select your mission and your loadout, and you go do that mission, and you kind of can pick your companion to go with you, who's going to fight with you. So I'm not that far into it. I don't know how many.
But it's all about like getting materials and using that materials to like build new stuff, right? Or am I wrong on that?
I haven't gotten that far into it where you construct stuff. I just know it's a very, very fast-paced action game. and you can switch between melee and gun and ranged weapons. And it's very arcadey, so it's very fast. Like you're swinging, but you don't feel like you're hitting. You're just swinging real fast. Like if you come off playing a game like a From Software game or The Witcher or some of those games where the hits feel like you're hitting something, this doesn't feel that way. This feels like you're just going real fast and you see numbers flying everywhere as you're doing damage. So think very arcadey, very fast paced, but apparently, and Kyle, I have read what you're talking about. Don't know what it's like, but I've heard lots of upgradable stuff in this game. I just haven't gotten too far into it.
I've always been interested in that series, and I've just always kind of been.
It's very
side of it.
Very anime.
Right? Yeah, it's very anime style, very anime story. You know, but it's interesting. So it's usually very cheap, like Derek said on Steam. It always has a super steep discount on Steam during almost every sale. Even the random weekend sales that Steam has, you'll find it on sale a lot. So, but yeah, if you have a Switch and you want to try it there, it's on sale right now, I think. So there you go, God Eater 3. It's pretty interesting. The other one that I've played a little more of is Lost in Random. I realized that apparently I bought this on sale, one of the Steam sales, probably the Christmas one, or it could have been the Halloween time one. I forget which one that was cheap. I bought it and I never played it, but now I have it installed and I'm playing it on Game Pass. I don't make any sense. I understand, but it's on Game Pass now, so you can go try it out because of EA Play. You know, their agreement with Microsoft with Game Pass. So I'm playing Lost in Random a little bit. You guys know which game I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. It's like Tim Burton-y looking one. I wanted to play it. It looked
very, very Tim Burton. Like as soon as it fires up, like it's Tim Burton start to finish, including how dark it is and how creepy the characters are, while also kind of having a lot of jokes. You know, there's a lot of like silliness. So it's very Tim Burton-esque, a lot of dark humor. But the setting is basically, think like a Hunger Games style world where you've got these districts and each one is assigned a number, and that's why you have the dice. And so it's this world of random, and each town is assigned a number. So like you are, of course, in the poorest, because that's how all heroes start, right? They're in the poorest district. So you're called oneers. You're in this one town, and it's super poor town. And then the next one is 2 town, and then it works its way up to 6. Being a 6er means you live near the palace and maybe even will serve the queen. And when you turn 12, you have to roll the dice to determine what town you're going to grow up in. So wherever you're born, you roll the dice when you turn 12, and you're taken away from your family to whatever town that is. So at the beginning, your main character isn't 12 yet, but your sister turns 12 and she gets taken away. And so you now as the sister are going to go try to find her. So that's kind of the set. It's kind of interesting. It is it's a little low budget in the platforming and exploration. I like as you move around, you realize like, okay, this isn't the top of the top exploring and platforming, but the combat is super interesting. So you start fighting. Once you get your little dice friend, you start to learn the combat basics. And the way it works is you just do these basic slingshot attacks. And I'm assuming that grows into something else later. But you have a slingshot, and as you do that, you build up this meter. And as soon as that builds up, you can roll the dice, and everything pauses. And that tells you how many of these kind of combat points you can use. And you have a selection of cards that each cost a different number of combat points. So you can either save those points for another roll later, or you can use them on a card. And that card could generate a giant mace or a quick sword or a bow and arrow. Basically, these cards generate weapons for you, and then everything unpauses, and you can use that ability that you've unlocked with the card. And it could be a healing card. There's lots of things you can do with those over time. You can collect more and more cards. So it's not a card turn-based battle system, but you pause to activate your abilities using these cards that you collect. So it's kind of an interesting combat system. It's very unique. And boy, visually, it's just really cool looking. If you hate Tim Burton style stuff, you probably won't like the design, but you can at least acknowledge and admire, like, hey, this looks like real.
I like it in a game.
Real stop motion is what it looks
like.
I
just remember first seeing it, I was like, I mean, this looks like a Tim Burton movie. So like it seems like interesting.
Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline.
So
Flipping Death is kind of like that. Psychonauts 2 a little bit reminded me of that.
Right.
Yeah. So I bought that game. I just never downloaded it and played it. It's great. Good money spent.
Yeah. Well, it's also on Game Pass for now. I don't know how long the EA Play thing will be connected to Game Pass.
I could have just waited. I don't know why I do that.
Same here, dude. I did the same thing. But I do think it's worth a try if you're in that mood of like just trying a couple of games. And if you want something a little more kind of animated movie feeling, this definitely strikes that tone. Very creepy though. Very Tim Burton creepy, as well as being interesting and all that stuff. So all right, before we wrap this up with our backlog Hall of Shame, anything else Anyone else didn't get to?
I'll just
Sword
research
trailer.
things. I got a Switch OLED. I think it's awesome. I've been playing Ring Fit. That's kicking my butt. I'm so out of shape. It's crazy. And Triangle Strategy is awesome. Like, what a great game that is. Like, holy crap. I got a few hours into that and
Talk about Game of
realized
Thrones,
I was like,
right?
I knew you'd like that one, man.
I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I already know, like, these characters' names and, like, what they kind of stand for. And, like, I don't know, just really quickly, I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'm following this story closer than I thought I was. And I'm just really enjoying that. And then watching-wise, and I won't dwell on it. If y'all want to watch, like, what a Yakuza game would be like in TV show form, watch Tokyo Vice on HBO Max. I think it's
that looks good.
so
incredible.
so good, it's so good. I think it's such a well-shot show. It's so well written. I think it's amazing.
And there's a white guy in it, so cool.
Yeah. But it's a true story, though. It's a true story. So, I mean, it's
what is it called?
Yeah. They should have made him Asian.
They should
have made him Asian, even though his name's Jake Adelstein and
Adelstein from Missouri.
It's great though, and they have one episode left coming out on Thursday. That's the finale for those of you that binge watch things.
Oh, nice.
You know, it's almost wrapped up on HBO Max. It's really good though.
Dude, Ken Watanabe. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
he's so good.
Oh my god.
Come on, that dude. Come on.
Yeah.
That guy has such a presence about him in this.
And then the actress from Pacific Rim plays his editor. I think that's
yeah.
Dude, shout out to Pacific Rim. That movie did not get the attention it deserved.
No, it did. And people can shut up.
No, that movie is fantastic. You go to hell. You go to hell, Jeff.
I'll die on
I'm actually
right?
on
Like,
that
come
one.
on.
Derek, you didn't like it?
It's fine.
It's got a slight goofy.
It needs attention. No, it doesn't. Needed to show up and make the money go away.
What if it had Nick Cage in it?
Then no, absolutely.
Oh man,
what if the giant robot was
Jaeger.
Nick Cage? What if the robot
even worse? I hate all of this.
Nick Cage would have been able to solo a Jaeger. He would have been like, "Oh, it's a lot, but I got it."
No, he would just have a second version of himself apparently, and
yeah, he just have his younger self do this.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We are each going to name 5 games that we've got on our backlog. The only rules here are that you can't have played it for more than just a little bit. Like if it's one of those games that you're, a good chunk, let's say a third of the way ish or more into, then that doesn't count. You've already played enough of that game to decide if you're going to keep playing it or not. So these are games that if you've played, it's barely at all, or you haven't played them at all, but they're kind of on your backlog. And they're ones that I'm assuming if you've picked these 5 out, you're okay with being told.
I'm going to try to change the rules a little bit. What if you have played a lot of it, but it was like 15, 20 years ago, and it's like still lingering over, like you feel the weight and the pressure to play that game, but you've never finished it.
Did you hear what he said?
I want to change the rules.
That was so serious. That was so serious.
Wow.
You sold that.
I felt like I was in trouble. I was like, "Oh, Kyle."
Those that aren't listening.
That's angry dad energy.
I honestly, it's fine if you want to suggest that one, as long as
I was gonna do it anyways.
I don't even have one on a list, so yeah, I don't know why I'm like.
One?
I could be using this time to make a list instead of grilling Derek right now. So
yeah,
I mean, this was actually hard for me because my backlogs list's not that bad. So.
All right, so
I'll
go first to give you guys a chance if you need to fill out your list. At least give us 3 to choose from. 5 would be best to kind of be like your games that. Yep. And so I'll give you my 5 first. And the idea is you 4 together are going to tell me which game sometime this week I have to sit down and spend some time diving into it. Now, whether that means an hour, depends on the game. Like if it's a 70-hour game, I should play it for probably 4 or 5 hours this week if I get a chance, or maybe into next week. If it's a shorter game, like I've got one here that I'm not going to list. It just didn't make my list, but Night in the Woods is one I've always had on my list but never played it. That's a shorter adventure game.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
That's a shorter one, but I think I would only need to play that one for like an hour, maybe hour and a half to get an idea of that one. So all that to say, here are my 5, and you guys tell me which one I should go for. So number 1, first option is Bayonetta 2. Never played that one. I've got it. I own it, sitting there. I just haven't played it. I was always kind of waiting.
That's the one. You don't have to finish your list.
I was waiting for Bayonetta 3. So Bayonetta 2. Prey.
We're done here.
Prey. The reboot of Prey. The newer version of Prey. I think it was 2017. I think was that one.
I'm not the one to sell you on that one. That's for sure.
That's going on my list. It's a good one.
Sleeping Dogs.
Oh my God.
Good Tim.
Nope, this is done now.
A visceral reaction from Kyle.
I know. Batman Arkham Origins is the only
Oh.
Batman game I haven't played of that series. Arkham Origins.
Yeah. But you played all the other ones, right? The main 3.
I have. I just haven't played this one. That's the only one I haven't played out of all of them. I own it on Steam. I think I told this a long time ago, but anyway, just real quick, I own it on Steam, and then the PC that I had at the time just couldn't run it smoothly, so I just kind of backlogged it and never went back to it. And I was trying to decide between the Surge 2, which I bought on sale, or Disco Elysium. And so I'm going to go with, because I just played a whole lot of a Souls-like, I'm going to go with Disco Elysium instead of the Surge 2 for my other one. So there's my, I think that's 5, right? Did I give you 5?
Yeah.
I know what Jeff's going to pick.
I'm going to vote Sleeping Dogs.
Oh, I thought you were going to pick Disco Elysium.
No, because, I mean, I know you're going to have fun with Sleeping Dogs, and you've already had the Batman experience before. The other 2, I can't speak to Bayonetta. I'm not the right person to sell you on Prey. It just wasn't for me in the first few hours I played it. But
so you're picking Sleeping Dogs is my vote. Yeah. Okay. So again, to recap, it's Bayonetta 2, Prey, Batman Arkham Origins, or Sleeping Dogs, or Disco Elysium.
Yeah. Disco Elysium is definitely a must in general eventually, but it's just I feel good about recommending you Sleeping Dogs.
I'm gonna game my vote because I know you're gonna play Bayonetta 2 at some point because you want to play Bayonetta 3. So I don't need to cast that vote towards you. So play Sleeping Dogs, 100%.
All right.
Yeah, definitely Sleeping Dogs.
Oh,
Sleeping Dogs.
All right.
That game rolls, man.
Yeah,
Unanimous.
I'm shocked we never got a sequel.
You're welcome, man.
So
yeah,
so
you're supposed to get a movie starring Donnie Yen for the longest time too, and that never happened.
Sleeping Dogs. All right. So Tim has to play. How many hours do I need to play to?
I mean,
I don't know
it's
how
an
long
open world game. It's kind of lengthy,
if
right?
you play 2 or 3 hours, you're gonna go, yeah, I've played an open world game before.
Yeah,
Got
but like,
that's fair.
Just getting those first like 2 or 3 hours of vibes of like, cool, this is how the shooting feels,
Okay.
how the combat.
Yeah,
feels.
there's more with the melee and the parkouring and stuff that's more involved than other open world games like that.
Yes,
but
that's
especially the hand-to-hand combat. Yeah.
Sleeping Dogs. It is. Jeff, what are your options for us?
Same as I'm gonna pick the second one. Bayonetta 2 has been my list. This is one I've never played. Now we're going in the territory of games that I've only played 1 to 3 hours of. Dishonored, didn't play more than 3 hours of that one. Skyrim, only played a couple hours.
Oh, Kyle, did you hear that?
Breath of the Wild, only played a couple hours.
Okay.
BioShock, haven't played it at all.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
All right. So we're gonna start with Derek this time, and then we'll work our way back. But so it's Bayonetta 2, Dishonored, Skyrim,
BioShock.
Breath of the Wild.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling you would say BioShock.
I gotta be honest.
I think it's the more realistic one that you could actually.
And I would say pick one that you like. I'm trying to pick one that I know all of you are gonna enjoy. Like some of these are like, I don't know. Some of these are daunting for sure, but like I still want you all.
Well, you're not having to finish it. So.
That's true. That's a good point.
I'm split between Dishonored and BioShock. I know they're both first-person games. I'm gonna go BioShock. I think you'd love the story and the setting, and it is fun to play. I'm gonna go BioShock 2 for this one.
Okay.
BioShock has a lot of twists.
I would love that. Yeah.
Dan, what do you think?
Amazing.
I mean, I was gonna say Skyrim just because that would be fun, but you could literally wander and just do a bunch of random nonsense and just be like, I didn't really get anything out of that experience.
Yeah,
like you have to want to play Skyrim and play for like 30 hours and be like, I did some stuff.
This is like the epitome of if you get 6 seasons in, you're gonna the show really starts watching. This is that in video game form.
So yeah, BioShock. Because if you you never finished BioShock, the first one.
I don't even think I've touched it. I think
okay.
Yeah.
So you gotta experience.
I think it'll grip you from the opening scenes.
Yeah,
man.
you gotta experience BioShock for sure. Yeah.
Kyle, you disagree? What do you think?
Yeah, don't play BioShock. Don't. That's fine. God, I don't know. I Bayonetta 2 for you, but for sure. Like this, I think you have so much fun with that game.
All right, so you've got our votes, Jeff, but ultimately you can kind of pick. I mean, we've obviously 3 of us say BioShock. Dan was thinking Skyrim. Kyle's saying Bayonetta 2. Which one?
With how much?
I said BioShock.
Yeah.
Okay, Dan said okay.
Yeah, ultimately BioShock.
With how much you guys and the group as a whole talks about BioShock, I think I'm going to go with that one.
People love BioShock. That is an industry darling. So
all 3 of the BioShock games are.
BioShock Infinite has one of my favorite stories.
Thank you, Kyle.
All video games.
I was just going to say that. Like, I think the first one is great. The second one, I can't even remember a lot of the story from the second one. I'm not saying it was bad. It doesn't stick with me. BioShock Infinite, I thought was just such a good story.
I remember when that game wrapped up, I was like jaw gaped, like
And the
like, it just-
DLC,
oh,
the
so
DLC for Infinite like really closes out what they already did amazingly in
Sweet.
the actual main game. So they actually did DLC right, meaning the game ended, it felt satisfied, and then they went and made DLC to go, hey, here's more of it to actually blow you away. But so to me, BioShock and BioShock Infinite are 10 out of 10s, and then BioShock 2 is like a 9. It always gets crapped on, but it's actually really good.
Yeah.
Cool.
A BioShock.
And I did pick the first one deliberately too, because I know that I'm more excited to play Infinite based on the more unanimous praise I've heard, especially from Kyle and stuff.
Boy.
But like, I know that if I start on BioShock, then I'm gonna want to go through the entire thing anyway.
I think you will appreciate Infinite more after you go through the tone of the original.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think the Infinite's more
from each other.
I think so too. Yeah, it's so much more socially like on point.
Yeah.
BioShock Infinite, like to today's standard, from when it came out to like now, like it's more of a game or a story you would tell today, than
Andrew Ryan is Donald Trump, just so you know. so you can
I mean, yeah, sure, yeah.
Gonna be great. I'm gonna shock them biotically
with my
huge.
There's a light tower. There's always a light tower.
All right. Donald, Dan, give us your selections.
Always a light tower.
There's always a light tower. I'm gonna get the biggest. Yeah, I was gonna say my light tower is so huge.
Excuse me.
My light tower is bigger than your light tower. It's so huge.
All right, now you sound like Arnold. Let's go.
All right, let's go.
My
Dan,
light tower.
what are your
What
selections?
that voice was.
Give us your list, y'all.
Who is your daddy and what does he do? So I chose. Let's see here. Anno Mutationum, which I did start, but I played less than an hour. Jeff, honestly, I think.
How are any of us going to recommend that to you? That's like a brand new game.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks super cool. I think you guys honestly would like it. It's got really cool. It's basically like Cyberpunk. It's a Cyberpunk game, but it's like side scrolling and it's more like pixelated looking, but it's actually really beautiful pixelated art.
Oh yeah, I do want to play that, but this is like, I don't know.
Okay. So I picked that Lost in Random because I have wanted to play that. I put Fable 2 or 3, whichever is best. I don't know which one actually people prefer.
I've got thoughts there. Okay.
Mass Effect Andromeda, because I never actually got around to that.
Oh,
I know,
man.
and Derek and Tim love that one.
I love
Andromeda. I freaking love that game, dude.
It's so awesome, man.
Okay.
And then the last one, Dreamscaper. I had played that back when it was in early access,
Right,
but only for like an hour.
Andromeda.
Yeah, I'm with Derek, dude.
Oh, you know what? You tell me to stop talking. I'm not choosing that one at all.
Wait, I would take that to say with the Fable thing, because I had a lot of thoughts on Fable 2 and Fable as well.
So which one do people like more, though, generally?
Fable
2, right?
2.
Yeah.
2? Okay.
Yeah. So Fable 1, I still think is a fun game to experience.
Good.
I think one's my favorite still, to be honest.
One is really fun, and it's a really great story. The anniversary edition actually looks surprisingly good for how old it is.
Plays well too. Yeah.
Plays well.
If you've got a nice PC, play Fable Anniversary Edition on it.
It's really good. Fable 2 though takes the gameplay to the next level. It's really cool RPG style where what you do is where you get your experience from. I love that idea.
They take out all that pesky dying too, so you don't have to worry about that ever again.
I loved Fable 2. I thought it was really good. Fable 3 had some good moments, but then some of the stuff they do with the story and some of the second act of things, I just didn't like it as much.
Yeah. I like 3 more than most people.
I didn't hate it.
I liked 3. I just don't remember it. It wasn't memorable to me. And then I heard the internet told me I wasn't supposed to like it, so I was like, oh,
Fable was like if the Monty Python Guild decided they wanted to do a Skyrim game. Like so it's very like cheeky and tongue in cheek, lots of fart jokes and like cheeky humor, and
I'm here
it's
for
very
jokes.
cool.
So I'm
a huge fan of that series.
Knowing that you just finished Chrono Cross Remastered and that you are also planning on trying to wrap up Elden Ring, I'm going to recommend you play Mass Effect Andromeda just for the style shift from both of those types of games and not go back to another fantasy setting with magic and all that stuff. So I'm going to say ME Andromeda. I also think you'll really enjoy it. It's a super fun game.
Yeah, dude.
I think that game got harped on weight. Like,
I know
there's reason that game.
That's my pick.
It's been patched, obviously, to the point where I think anybody that had those initial complaints, it's like, well, now.
But you can't patch a story, which people had problems with, like the story. There's no problem with the story.
I thought it was. I thought a lot of it was the jank and stuff.
There was some jank, but like the lingering issues that people talk about.
There's still some quirks in it now, but it's not anything.
Like the choices you make are really like they're not don't have the gravity that they did in
Sure.
the
It's
trilogy.
a
but it's not really
self-contained
about
story.
that either. Yeah,
It's a self-contained story with an idea of how it could continue, which I don't think they're going to, but they could have. But they do a good job of containing the story, and it feels good, and it's good.
Yeah.
It's a fun.
I think it's just because the stakes
Andromeda-
feel lower. That's the only reason that people are like.
Andromeda is like the Order 1886 to me, and that is
Oh, okay. Well, I
it's
love
like
that
a game
so-
that I know I'm never gonna get another sequel to, but the
Yeah.
story and
I
characters
love 1886.
actually really cool that I really want it, and that's why I was so mad at gamers for crapping on Andromeda, because if they actually would have given it a chance, it has good characters, it has a good story,
That's
and
great
they
characters.
they have a lot of secrets like to the dad and stuff like that they try to reveal. They had a sequel built into this.
I'm wondering if they will somehow tie it, because I mean it does exist, unless they just completely just don't acknowledge it.
Well, they're on
The
two
new
different
one.
timelines at this
They
point
could-
because
they
they
could
had to
retcon it.
travel like 20,000 years.
They're going
you
to
know,
act like it didn't exist. And
They
they
are,
have-
yeah. Mass Effect 4 is probably going to be called Mass Effect 4, and it's going to directly be a sequel to like 3 and
sure.
after that.
I don't know. I mean, it's space. You go through a wormhole. Somehow you jump ahead in time. I mean, it's possible.
They'll probably bring it up.
Is,
Be like, hey,
is that
the
everybody
Jupiter
else's
mission
pick?
or
Is
whatever. Yeah,
Andromeda?
yeah.
Derek, Jeff, Kyle?
Yeah, Andromeda, 100%.
So
right.
Dan, any issues with that? You good with that?
I will be traveling in a galaxy far, far away. Just
you
not the
will.
ones that normally count towards that saying.
Yeah. All
Star
right.
Wars.
Derek,
This one's more
Thanks,
Star
Tom.
Trek. It's great.
Derek, what are some backlog games for you?
Star Trek's better than Star
We
Wars,
can,
anyways.
we
right?
can force you to try.
Oh, well, I don't know about that.
Um,
I don't know about that, brother.
So
That's
I
like-
want you guys to pick from Elden Ring, Bloodborne, Dark
God
Souls
damn it.
Remastered, Dark
Couldn't
Souls 2,
go
and
one
Dark Souls
goddamn
3.
episode without hearing
I
that.
have barely touched.
I picked Sekiro. Good luck.
Yeah, and you have to beat it
You already did.
again.
without
nice.
cheating.
Okay, I'm at the end boss.
Neo 2.
All right, so mine being serious, I have played a lot of hours of these first two, but I never beat them, so that's like what I talked about, the weight of them. They're on me. A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time,
Ooh.
Metal Gear Solid,
Oh.
Bravely Default 2, The Council, Octopath Traveler.
I would
The
just
first
immediately
two I
say Metal
played
Gear
a lot of
Solid,
hours.
but that's hard to get a hold of a copy.
What was
of.
the one? What was the one after Metal Gear Solid before?
Bravely Default 2.
Oh, Bravely Default.
Metal Gear Solid would just be hard to get a copy of. So like I feel like if I just cast
I
a
don't
vote
want
to
to
that.
wait for that one until it's like remastered. I know it's coming.
I mean, I pick
Keep
Ocarina.
waiting.
Ocarina of
I-
Time is one of my favorite games of all time. So.
Dan
might
says
also be
Ocarina.
hard. It might also be hard to get a copy of. I don't know with the availability.
Well, it's no, it's not.
on the
Is it?
Switch, right?
Is it on the
It's
Switch?
on the 3D. It's on the 3DS, and it's entombed there. Is the last console.
Isn't it? Isn't it on the N64?
You can play
Yeah,
on
it is.
Switch
Switch
Online.
Yeah, it is.
Switch
Oh, I
Online.
didn't think about that. Yeah, on the Switch.
Yeah.
Or- I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
you
they
could get
just updated
the
it.
you could get the PC whatever version, super legally, I'm sure.
Emulator,
yeah.
yeah.
Master Quest version and make
Dude, emulators never work for me unless somebody wants to come over my house and get them to
It
work.
almost
they never
it
work.
almost always breaks my computer somehow. So I
So
stay away
I
from them a
don't
lot.
mess with them.
My
at
brother
all.
runs it through its own like pie, and
Okay, yeah.
it's its
What,
own separate
what flavor
thing.
is that pie?
Like
Raspberry,
a
usually.
raspberry. Yeah.
Piratey.
cream.
Pirate.
God
God damn
actually,
it.
out of all these, I kind of wanted to pick Metal Gear Solid, but you're
Yeah.
saying
So do
you
I.
want to wait on that one?
Well, I
Well, that would-
mean,
It would be
I
hard
would
to
have
get,
to
right?
buy
If you have a
it.
GameCube, you can pay for the Twin Snakes version for like $80 and
Yeah,
play
it's
that one.
expensive.
I used to have that, and I think I have it on PlayStation Digital. I don't. Can you down? You can't. No, you
No,
can't
you would need,
download
like,
it
a
on the
Vita.
PS5.
I'm
need
telling
a
you,
Vita.
that game is really hard to play for
Or
whatever
a
reason.
PS3.
Down.
You would need
All
a
right,
Vita or
so
a PS3.
scratch Metal Gear Solid. I'm taking it.
No,
out.
you don't take it off. Just we won't choose it. That's all.
Yeah.
Just because it's hard to. We want you to play what we choose. So.
Jeff, what do you think?
Oh God, I have no opinions on this. I didn't. I have. I barely touched Octopath, and that's the only one I've touched.
Kyle, what
Yeah.
are you thinking?
So I don't know.
Give them to me one more time.
So we got Link to the
Link
Past,
to the
Ocarina,
Past.
Metal Gear Solid, Council,
Ocarina.
Octopath,
Just do
or
Ocarina.
Bravely Default.
Yeah,
Ocarina of
definitely
Time.
Yeah, have a little respect for the Z targeting in that game, and that's why we have that now. Great, it's cool.
That sounded sarcastic.
I think
No,
yeah,
it's not. It's,
Oh, okay.
like it created like in a
Yeah.
way, like it
All right.
created, defined, and
Derek,
made
have you
me-
gotten to the water
Absolutely.
temple in Ocarina yet?
Oh, jeez.
Like 20 years ago.
Use a guide.
That's going to be a while anyway.
Metal Gear Solid's on GOG. Yeah,
Oh, God.
To play on
$10.
PC.
Yeah.
Really?
That's the one I need to choose. That
I
one.
bet you I own it.
Metal
Let
Gear
me
Solid.
check.
Metal Gear Solid. Choose that one.
Wait,
It's
you
10
can
It
play
looks
it on-
like the one that you're
play it on
talking about. I
PC?
mean,
Metal Gear
yeah,
Solid?
it's
Really?
on GOG. It's $10.
Dude, if you could play Metal Gear on PC, then I mean,
Yeah, that's. I never knew it was on PC. That's crazy.
I mean, I personally would still pick. I mean, I'm sorry, Ocarina.
I just searched for it and it popped up, and it's I don't know if that's outside the store or something. That it's where the hell
Metal
is my
Gear.
cost?
Yeah, it says $10. Yeah, on
Yeah.
GOG.com.
That one. Choose that one.
All right, so
I would
one
choose
for
that one just
Metal
because I'm
Gear.
curious what anybody else would say about it.
Dude, I kind of want to
statistically.
buy it right now.
It is so ahead of its time. When you're
Oh,
playing
yeah.
that game, just always go. This game came out in 1999. It'll blow
Yeah.
your mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I
use
kinda almost
use
want
a
to buy it.
guide for it because some of the stuff.
It's very obtuse. Like where to go next in that game.
Cloud
Very
saves,
obtuse.
Controller support. Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, I bought it. Yeah, I own it.
Whoops. I thought you. Now that I remember it, didn't you say that you bought that you planned on playing?
Yeah,
these
I
or whatever?
bought Metal Gear, the first one, like just Metal Gear, and Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, Metal Gear. That's old.
Yeah, it's super old. It's probably not wise to play that one. Just skip it.
No, that game's awful. Yeah.
Well, there it
Actually, you
is.
know what? Ocarina, Derek wouldn't like anyways because you have Navi who's just like, listen, and Derek could be like, I'm not listening, so you can shut the hell up.
Or whenever you accidentally say, I didn't hear all that to the owl, and he's like, well, let me tell you all that again, cowboy.
Yeah, right.
See
And then
text
you do it
again.
again, and then you do it again.
So maybe, I mean, if you're cool with it looking like the way it looks, because it's an old game, just play. I would say Metal Gear Solid.
I was just gonna say, I still think for what it is, Metal Gear kind of does hold up. I don't think it's
Narratively, it holds
I mean,
up.
compare. Well, but I'm saying compare like Final Fantasy VII to like Metal Gear. I mean, they're almost like it almost seems like two different systems, almost.
It does. You're right. Yeah,
You know?
he really pulled a lot of power out of that game.
Yeah.
System. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm still not seeing it on GOG for sale. I'm seeing it listed.
I
just don't
see it $9.99.
Yeah.
Well, then that's my pick because I think that's the one that you're most likely to perhaps
Short too. You could blow through that game in like
get
6
through it.
hours with a guide, 4 hours if you're really rushing.
Yeah.
Put some cheats on. I don't know.
Did you say if
So
I'm really Russian? Okay.
Yeah, like rushing without a G. You know.
Nah.
Oh,
It is.
Rushing.
It is.
Yeah.
Trump paid me $30 to say that on.
God damn
If
it.
you're really Russian.
If
right.
you're really Russian.
And last but not least, Kyle, give us some games to choose from, and then we will. Say
I stole one from you, Tim Prey, because that game is so up my alley. Like I want to know about clones and Groundhog Day type games. That seems cool. Probably never get to it. Whatever. Half-Life Alyx. I wish there was a way I could play it. It's just.
Do you have VR?
I not a PC that could run it, which is the only way to run it. So it's not.
Does that
an
count?
Oculus. I mean, I have it on
can't
there because
really-
it's on my backlog.
you can't
I
pick
don't
it
have
for
a
you.
fifth game, so take it or leave it.
Okay, all right. Fair enough. We're gonna go with 4 for you. Go ahead.
Fatal
Hey,
Frame
Kyle's
made-
getting real aggressive here. I think.
Fatal Frame. Well, we're like 2.5 hours in.
Fatal Frame?
We can talk about how I don't have it, but yeah, Fatal Frame Maiden, the newer one, the one that just
Yeah,
re-released on Switch that was on Wii U.
Yeah.
I like that series. Never played it. Would like to play that. Doom Eternal. Please don't make me play this game. I played like an hour of it. Hated it. Hated everything about it.
So why are you putting it on the list?
Because it's heralded. as
maybe it's
great
good,
computer,
yeah.
You know, yeah, and maybe if I put 2 more hours in, I'll love it. You know. And then Zelda Skyward Sword. I put 2 hours into this game, and I was like, no. But I want to play it because I know the story's really good, and I love Zelda games. So.
All right.
So Prey, Half-Life Alyx, Fatal Frame Maidens, Doom Eternal, Zelda Skyward Sword.
Dan, what do you think? Prey, Fatal Frame, Doom Eternal, Skyward Sword. I'm not even listing Half-Life Alyx because if you picked it.
Plague Tale. Put Plague Tale up there.
Oh, I'll put Plague Tale instead of Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah, dude. Plague Tale.
Oh.
Yeah, Plague Tale. There we go. Plague Tale.
That changes things. That changes things.
I picked Plague Tale.
Because I forgot that was the one I was kind of nagging Kyle over.
Yeah, I only have like an hour. I'm only an hour into that
Okay.
game, and I love that first hour.
Yeah,
What do you
Plague
say,
Tale.
Derek?
I still pick Zelda Skyward.
Skyward Sword.
I was low-key hoping I were going to choose that, so I just have to buy it and play it. So,
So I am split between because you said I'm curious to hear what you think about Prey because that's also one that I want. So that's just selfish. I just kind of want to hear someone else who hasn't played it.
That's like why I'm
So I'm
going
curious
with Metal
about
Gear for Derek.
But
yeah.
I gotta go Plague Tale. I feel like you need to play that game. It's yeah. And Derek's saying Skyward Sword. So since it's split, even though they're more towards Plague Tale, you can ultimately decide which one do you want to go for.
All right.
Skyward Sword or Plague Tale? Which one?
I'll feel it out. Let's say Plague Tale, but if I buy Skyward Sword, that's the one I'm gonna do. So.
Okay, fair enough. Plague Tale, I'll put in parentheses, maybe Skyward Sword.
Possibly Skyward Sword.
So you don't.
I hear Skyward Sword gets really good. Like the dungeons are really good in that game. I hear. I remember being in Skyloft and going like, "Ooh, I hate all this. I do not like this."
All right, guys. So next time you're on the show, so if for whatever reason, if one or more of us can't be here next week, then it's the next time we're on the show. You have to report back on your experience with one of these games. Dan, you're playing Mass Effect Andromeda. Derek, you're playing Metal Gear Solid. Jeff, you're playing BioShock. Kyle, you're playing Plague Tale, or maybe Skyward Sword, depending on what kind of mood you're in. And I'm playing Sleeping Dogs.
These are great. Everyone's got a real treat ahead of them if they follow through.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
I can't wait for your Sleeping Dog. Like, I've just so many impressions I can't wait for. And
Sleeping Dogs.
It's one of those games that I'm like, why haven't I played this yet? It's one of those games.
It's so good. And like, if you like Hong Kong action flicks, like this is the video game version.
I was just I could not believe the fighting style was like, because I bought it on a whim, just on a sale on Steam.
It's got an Arkham Asylum fighting
and then when I played, when I played the fighting, I was like, why is nobody talking about this game? Like, it just blew my mind that it was like that good and nobody was talking about it.
I've got it sitting here on Steam right now. I've owned it for a while. I'm just going to go ahead and start the download as soon as we get out of here. So
sweet.
All right. I think that does it for us this week. I know it's an extra long episode, but that was fun. Thank you guys for all being here. It's best when we're all here. So I appreciate it. Thank you all for listening and watching, and we'll see you next time. See ya.
All right. Butt cock.
Boobies.